Welcome everyone. A lot to get through tonight. So we'll try and keep the peripheral stuff down to a minimum, I think, because clearly we've got to spend some time on the grants. So first item, public question time. We have no one from the public, do you, have we, Rich? No. So I think we can skip past that. Item 56. Council meetings can now be recorded. Does anyone wish to make a recording other than the one that's taking place now?
No.
Okay, thank you. 57. Apologies for absence.
There's a few in particular.
So we've had apologies, as you saw, from Councillor Barnett, Councillor Brooke, Councillor Culling, Councillor Holmes, Councillor Ryler and Councillor Whitelaw.
Are we all okay with those apologies?
Yeah.
And the reason. Item 58. To receive members and officers' personal DPI's interest in items on the agenda.
To declare on application X, the Vocal Expressions Female Voice Choir. It's one of the members is a very close friend. In fact, I had dinner with her and her husband on Saturday, so that might be considered a bit close.
Okay.
And also, I'm a member of Eco Homes, as I always say. So
Okay.
the Eco
Can
Homes.
you sort of do the necessary when we get to these items?
Try and remember and slip out.
In other words, I'm not remember.
No, it's a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm on the committee for Friends of Home application N, I think it is. So I'll slip out at appropriate time.
Friends of Clifford.
And I'm clearly interested in, I don't know which one it is, Old Firth Harriers, I think it is.
Yeah.
Can I declare them interest as well, please? But first of all, in terms of the grants, the Sharing Memories grant, my mother-in-law is one of the regular volunteers, so I just want that noted, please. Honley Village Community Trust, their Welcome Club. I attended a first meeting with Mariana, then our Ukrainian housemate, back in 2022, so I'm definitely could be seen as being supportive of the Welcome Club. And Friends of Honley Library, I've committed a gift to them for their auction of promises. So I'm declaring that now as well.
Would you just like to go out altogether? Okay, thank you very much. Where have we got to?
Sorry, I've got one more as well.
We're not doing
Regarding
that.
tenancies, item 67, my DPI needs to be changed, but because I haven't changed it as yet, I will still declare that my husband has been on the waiting list
Have you got
for
a garage?
carriages. However, he has withdrawn. I'm sure Rich will explain, but it is a matter of record on my DPI at the moment, so I'll go out for that as well.
Oh, you're gonna
And
say
let
that
Rich
you
explain
got
to you what happened.
Okay, item 59, to consider written request for new DPI dispensation.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But can I just ask then about the tech? If the Labour Party are homed in the tech, is that something you need to declare?
They're just tenants.
Am I asking?
Well,
Because you've got the DPI
I think
It's
training now.
not in the Labour Party, it's the MP is a tenant.
I think let's not get into the discussion now. My take on the training that we had last week was it's up to individuals to make that call on whatever it is, whether it's the tech or, in my case, the welfare matters. We make an individual call on that. Okay. Have I understood that right, Jim?
You have, so if there is anyone who's got one of those shares in the tech, that would need to be declared, I think.
It's a big human interest.
Mm.
But we make our own money, so whether or not the presence of the
Yes.
tenant makes a difference to
Yeah.
decisions.
I think it's what you're comfortable with, isn't it, personally?
Which just reminds me, I've got a share in the tech.
It is on my DPI, but I've forgotten.
Well, we have got some tech applications.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And you are sat next to me, and I have a pen.
Okay, item 60, to consider whether items on the agenda should be discussed in private session. Have we any that we think we should do? No. Thank you. Item 61, confirm the minutes of the previous committee. So we need to approve the minutes of the meeting on 19th of August. Okay. All in favour? Item 62, grants. These are the grant evaluation reports. So these are the ones that we've got so far. Yes, Rich?
Well, there's a mixture of this year, and yeah, there's a mixture.
Okay. I mean, I've looked through these. I don't know whether anyone else has. Struck me as okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyone have any comments on these? So are we, have any further actions regarding these?
I mean, the only thing I have to say is really there's still a few outstanding from last year still. I am pestering them and they keep saying, I'm going to do it, but it never happens. But I mean, I suppose unless they apply for another grant, it's almost
No sanction.
it's almost no sanction. Yeah. I mean, I'll keep nagging them, but I think in the case of some of them, I need to contact a different person. We've got about 3 from last year that are still outstanding.
Can I just ask, does that mean if they didn't use it for an appropriate purpose, so I'm not just talking about the evaluation, but I'm talking about being used appropriately, how do we follow up on that?
We can't really.
And I guess that's the purpose of the evaluation.
Yes.
It's a big part anyway. So
Yeah.
we can see that it's being used for its intended purpose.
Can we put like a red mark on for a length of time, unless the committee changed for that charity?
Well, there is a red mark in that they can't apply again for a grant, so there is that.
But for how long? Because like,
Forever, essentially. It's kind of never ending until we get the evaluation or an explanation of where the money's gone.
because there was a grant that was given out locally, and then there was a request for a quote for the works to be done, and I was like, that's interesting. Surely you would have done that before you applied for the grant. But you've still not written a report.
Not necessarily. I take your point, but yeah, not necessarily.
I mean, it's hard to say, isn't it? But do we have any doubts about any of the outstanding ones?
What have we got? Well, obviously, I mean, there's a few that still haven't been done, like the 2 from Paid Edge have not been done yet, have they? They're still
No, that was for the green, and so they're on with the
the
job.
green and the
Yeah,
sound system and
yeah.
marquee or something
I
like
know
that.
for a fact they've got it very much in mind.
Good, yeah. And then I think the Women's Institute wanted outdoor equipment.
Yeah, Carol said Julie Idler, they've got some rights stones.
And what was that? Eden's Forest. Remember that one?
Oh, is that children's like?
Yeah.
Holiday club thing.
Yeah.
My friend's children went to that, it was quite good.
Yeah, good. I think the person I need to contact has just changed because I'm just not getting a response. So it's
I've
probably
never
as
seen
simple
or
as
whatever,
that.
but apparently it was quite
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it looks good. Yeah.
So to sort of partially answer Councillor Bailey's concern, it doesn't seem that we don't think we've anything fraudulent going on.
No,
I don't think so.
Just
But it
thinking
could
about
be.
those, isn't it?
It's just contact and, yeah, I think in the case of Paid Edge, I think there are various issues.
Probably the weather.
Nothing to do with,
Yeah.
Not done, but rain was
they're
like
wanting to spend it, but haven't been able to.
I think that's right.
terrible, yeah.
Okay, so do we need any further action on the grant evaluation reports?
Just other than I'll keep chasing them.
Okay. So, grant applications. To note the list of grant applications being considered tonight. rolling grants awarded previously have been deducted from the budgets.
Can I just make the point that there is a slightly more money in the projects and events pot than it says on the thing. So we've got 13,940 rather than 13,440. I've deducted the 500 quid for Friends of Cliff Rec twice. So there's 13,940 rather than 13,440.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing to say about this is we've clearly got far more grants being asked for than we've got in either of the two pots. The assets one was 53,000, but essentially we've only got half of that to consider tonight, which is 26,500. Can't remember what the total came to. About 45. So clearly we're well adrift there.
Yeah, 45.
And on the projects, we've got, according to my
About
calculation, 6,970, and we've got requests for 15,000. So we're going to have some, I suppose, quite tough decisions to make somewhere along the line.
Can I also say that, personally, I think that it would be good practice to make sure we've still got some for the next round as well.
Absolutely.
For a whole range of reasons, partly because otherwise everyone's going to be applying for the first round in future.
Yeah.
And we wanted to spread it out.
I
I'd like to
think
see at
that's
least
a very good point.
I'd like to see at least a third, if you know, sort of still.
I'm thinking half, just half now and half in September.
I think that's probably good practice.
Otherwise, what's the point of having two application dates, because you
Yeah.
can't fulfil the second date, can you?
There's nothing to stop them applying again.
No?
Oh yeah, they could, and we could roll them over, you know, we could mark them to say, can we consider this next time? Then they wouldn't have to reapply, we could just say, you've done this time, unfortunately, you know, we'll put you automatically, do we have to vote on putting them automatically through to September?
To defer them.
No, to defer them, sorry.
This is September.
Yeah, to February, yeah, don't worry about me, I don't know what to do.
Do we generally get as many applications in February as we do in September?
No.
No, not quite. We haven't in the past. I mean, you still get a lot, but
Yeah.
probably the bulk of them come through now, I would think. Yeah.
You want to be first to post though, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I just wondered if splitting it half and half is the right thing to do.
I think when we've done a split previously, it was kind of like Councillor Bailey said it was, you know, like 65, 35,
And
or 60,
sometimes
40 or something like
The
that.
money comes back because we
Yeah.
don't agree on buying other things than we thought we were going to buy.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
Friends of Cliff Rec are giving us money back.
Very good.
Well, I guess this is a fairly fundamental thing we have to agree on, isn't it, before we get any further? Whether we're keeping half the budget for February or whether we're doing like a 60-40 or something.
Has it been normal for people declining in September to come back in February for a second bite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that would affect you, you split, you know, 65-35, it's going to be diminishing pot, isn't it?
Sometimes we manage to acquire money through the. No, I don't mean that. I mean, so sometimes people give us money back, because sometimes we don't spend as much money as we thought, and sometimes there's exceptional circumstances, isn't there?
So if you thought it was 60-40 split rather than 65-35.
I thought about all Martin.
Yeah. If one thought of.
Well, I'm not.
I'd just go, you know, ask the question, how has it worked out before? And if the split has been roughly 60-40, then that's fine.
I think last year, if I remember rightly, we spent rather less in the second cycle than the first cycle.
We did end up with a little bit left over, didn't we?
We had a few thousand quid left over. didn't
But we did half a lot of grants, didn't we? We didn't give them all the money, we gave them half of the money.
Yeah.
And also, Councillor Greaves did suggest that some frequent callers only found half of the grant money, and then we matched half of the grant money when they proved they had half of the grant money.
Okay, would someone like to propose we do 60-40 split then?
I propose we do 60-40 split.
Are we all comfortable with that?
Yeah.
We should have been-
Absolutely.
It's going to be a approximate. We're not
No,
going
we're
to.
not to that.
Yes, surely.
Someone's got to work that out now, mathematician of the room.
You got a calculator, Joe?
Use your phone. Because I'm not adding up to me ethics.
I mean, still to go through the individual ones,
Yes.
maybe we'll
Yeah.
leave some of those out anyway and reduce it.
I think if we say around about 60/40 is probably the way to do it.
If we go 62,
It
then,
gives us something to
Yeah.
go. I just thought it might be worth
That's
mentioning
what
as well.
Black and
Oh,
White.
big
So,
part.
so before we plunge into applications, I'd just like to say that I feel the quality application has improved enormously.
that'll be
Yeah,
better.
no, I thought-
You know,
I think
when I
so.
first started, it's, yeah, I mean, I hope the form is better, but I just think people are getting used to it, so.
Yeah, and we do still have some using the old form, and I know in your committee you forced them to,
Yeah.
you sent it back, didn't you?
Very, very
In
good
service
form.
publishing.
Well done.
Because it doesn't have a climate emergency bit on it, does it? Certainly, I think one of the older versions that we've got with this committee, it doesn't.
That particular form was the old form, wasn't
It was the old
Yeah,
form,
it's
yes,
two
it
editions.
wasn't even.
Oh, well, they were a very, very frequent caller then.
What's that stock of forms?
I thought it might be worth just going through, I'm not sure whether it is strictly applicable yet, this came from the last grants working group, didn't it? The grant priorities. But I think it would be helpful if we keep them in mind when we run through these. I don't think these are in any order, but promote social engagement, benefit those in greatest need, protect social and physical environment, respect and improve natural environment and biodiversity, protect and enhance local heritage, address the climate emergency, and support tourism and festivals. And perhaps when we're deliberating a bit, we can at least keep those in mind anyway. I think there was a point as well somewhere, Rich, about we could potentially refer some of these grants to other committees.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much kind of loose money they've got floating around in case, for example, but
Who's on case?
No, sit down.
Then it's the last meeting.
I mean, I suppose this committee could award and then refer them on with no expectation that case will find any.
Yeah, last time we did that,
Yeah.
we sat them all.
So,
So at the last full council, didn't Case return some money from its pot?
No, well, it did return some that we weren't going to spend, and it also,
Case.
I was, and then we didn't, and then we returned some we knew we wouldn't spend back into the budget,
Yeah.
because it was reserved. But, when we were sent some for grants, Sarah said no. So when we all said
I'm
no.
not sure I remember that. I thought they did.
Not all of them.
It was last year,
Not
wasn't
all.
it? Before the last budget,
Mm.
before the current budget.
There was some, we returned, I think we returned the money and then we spent it through this committee.
Okay.
I don't think because we couldn't, we could say we will, but then it had to come back to finance and you had to say yes or no here.
That's,
Because it was
yeah,
our
I
budget,
suppose that's a fair point. Yeah, because
because she can't spend her money without us saying yes.
yeah, because that committee can't award grants. So yes, it would have to come back to this
So
committee.
she said yes to some, no to others, and then it came back here to approve.
Okay.
I suppose the only other way would be to move the money from there to the grants pot.
Yeah, but you can't do that because she's got allocated budget for case.
Yeah.
Some of it's in communication and
I
not
mean,
all.
obviously that's a council. It's obviously a complicated decision with
You can't
council. Blah blah blah.
You could take it away from
blah,
service
blah,
provision,
blah.
they spend it like water.
Big responsibilities.
Right, so I think we're into the grant application. The first one being Rockall's Bowling Club.
So these people never applied before.
So they're asking for £5,000, aren't they? Out of a total cost of 7,032.
What do you want, just proposal to,
They have reserves of 11,000.
I think there are any issues with this. If that's what you're looking for in terms of comment.
Any comments?
So the total cost is gonna be 7,000. Hang on, they want 5 of us and they've got reserved of 11. Right, so they'll then have 16,000 and something. And they need 7. So propose, we don't give them all 5, we give them half of the 7, 3,500.
Well, the numbers don't match up, but
It's because of the VAT, I think, isn't it?
it's total project's 84, so it'll be 42.
Yeah, 4-2.
I think that it's not in our policy, but I really think it ought to be that we only got 50%.
Hmm.
And I think the bigger issue we've got tonight is square peg round hole. With how many we've got and the 60% limit, so
I propose we give them half of the cost, because at the end of the day, they do have money to do it. If we had no grant function, they wouldn't have anything. There is a few like Brockles things, so we'll be investing in the Brockles community further down the grant process if that's agreed. I suggest we give them half towards the project. I propose that.
And by half, are we saying half of what they're requesting, or half of the project?
no,
Half of the project.
So there'll be no VAT on disabled bit. I'm just trying.
It's a building, they can claim the VAT back anyway if it were vatable.
Chair, can I just, I think we should be careful about this if they've got some money, because we have talked about this in the past, haven't we? You know, and you know, you could say that it's good management to have some money to cover, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't think there should
It's
be
not
any
about
extra
the money.
surplus. I'd be
Yeah.
more worried.
But
If you have this argued both ways, right? I'd be more worried about the not being
Yeah.
sustainable as to.
Yeah.
It's not that,
Like
it's
you say,
that,
the
it's
utility
just that
bills and
the
repairs.
the next grant is also for Brockles Village Trust.
Mm.
So then if we fulfil that one as well, and then we get, and they're just at the top because of the bees, and then we get down to the bottom.
They're not at the top because of the bees.
No, but you know what I mean? If you run out of money and you're halfway through the village, it's not fair, is it? They were at the top, so they've got.
I think there's pros and cons here, isn't there? I mean,
Can I say what the order is? The order is when we got them. So
Yeah.
it's the date we received the application.
So that's a bit close.
sorry.
Yeah, so what we've done in the past, I think, is we've kind of agreed a provisional amount
Yeah.
and then worked our way through. And when we've got to the end,
We've
we
got
started
something left.
provisional amount up with budget available, and then for some, I think we then applied like
And we've got
so it might end up being like 87% of 50% to get us within it, and to me that's
I think
the best way to go. Otherwise, we're trying to score one off another as to which one should get a
Everyone brings
reduction in
different
that
things
is
to it, do you know what I
not easy.
I don't do bowling at all, and I'm never likely to, but I'm not going to say no.
You do use toilets though.
Not in Brockles. I don't know any Brockles.
I think in principle we've got an organisation here that we're not given a grant to before.
Yeah.
It seems to be a good cause of providing disabled toilets and obviously other things. So in principle, I think I'm in favour of giving them something. It's just how much, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as Charles says, we can make a provisional amount now, and then we can revisit depending on what the maths come out.
Yeah. So I propose half of the whole
Just make
project.
one last observation though, is that looking at the breakdown, they are making just to bear in mind that they are making a strong case for it being the disabled toilet that's having a problem, and that seems to be their priority. And when you look at the costings, they're asking us for £542 towards that, but the full cost towards the male and female toilets. So it seems the disabled toilets are their priority. The cost of the disabled toilets would be the minimum expectation from them, asking for that will cost about 2,500. So that, in one sense, justifies it. Okay, if you want to do the male and female toilets upgrade them at the same time, go ahead. But the disabled toilets your priority.
I guess we could make that point, couldn't we, if we're not giving them the full amount.
Yeah,
We'd like to think that,
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's in way
Yeah.
4,200.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're giving them more than they're really asking
Yeah.
for.
yeah.
If they do want it all, I'd want it all as well,
okay, so provisionally 4-2,
but yeah.
okay?
You mark that on your thing to go back to Martin later on. Prompt me.
So, what do we on now? Proposed village trust. Replastering and painting of the kitchen and toilet block at the village hall following roof repairs and related work.
If we follow in that line of thought, then I propose 2,100 for the job.
Second.
So can I just make the point that they have had 3 awards in the last
Yes.
3 years, totaling £4,628.
They've done very well for us. Their reserves are 72.9 thousand.
And including the grant of, where's that come from?
So, they're not particularly hard up. They've done well out of us.
Can we defer it to the end?
I would suggest this is one that we don't give, personally.
Yes, I would agree with that. They have had a lot of money. on
All
it.
right, I second you, yeah.
You
We'll go
know,
with that.
not sure where else they're going.
Well, is anyone else any thoughts on this?
Just the green thought that the previous 3 grants, when Rich sent the spreadsheet round, heat loss, energy surveys, that kind of thing, LED lighting, they're all greenly focused. This one is just plastering.
Which isn't very green plastering, you know, is it?
Cement.
Mm.
Yeah.
Move to
Cement is-
refuse then, like Mary said. Yeah?
Refuse? Next one. Oh, it's more critical.
Can I say something about this? Solar panel thing?
Installation of 2 banks of 10 solar panels on the roof.
Although I feel this is a very good idea, yeah, Kirklees Council have got a grant scheme in where they offer you quite a lengthy interest-free payment thing for solar panels. So, I'm not saying no, all I'm saying is that it meets the green criteria, I get that, and it is very good. There is other optional avenues open to them.
And again, they've had £5,000 worth of grants, 2 separate awards in the last 3 years.
And they've got 10.4k in reserve.
Yeah, that will buy them 20 solar panels. But all I'm saying is, they
But
can.
they're asking us for 5,000.
I don't even think 15 grand will give them 20 solar panels, because I just had a quote for 55 at my house, and it's a lot more than that.
Having said that, it's one of our priorities, isn't it?
Yeah.
It also looks to me that this one, sorry, I was going to say this one would be dependent, this grant application will be made to the Bright Green Community Trust. So even if we did award it, presumably they couldn't use it for that purpose unless the other application was successful. So we need to build some kind of conditioning to that if we decided to go with it.
Is this one where we give a partial award?
I just still think if I'd want to see the whole spec for the where the funding is coming from, because even if we gave them 5 and someone else gave them 5 and they've got 15 in, they're still not going to be able to do it for that.
Well, the Ofsted is 8,970, isn't it? I get what you're saying, but I mean, that does seem cheap for 20 panels.
But I've
It does say installation of 20 panels.
it doesn't say,
Well, purchase.
it's a bit, so they're renting the roof, are they paying half of it, does someone own the other half, I'm just saying that, I get the green thing, I'm all on the green wagon, I'm alright with that, I just wonder about the figures.
I mean, they do say total cost 8,970.
In the documentation, they say yes to copies of written estimates, quotations of capital purchases. So we may have actually had some of that information.
It's a very small building, isn't it? It's more like a domestic building, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, but I mean, I was 6 panels and a battery, and it was £9,500.
Is this a battery, or is this just a panel?
This is just plan.
But it's just panels.
Yeah, come down on it, isn't it?
Yeah, they really need a battery.
You do need a battery.
It's a bit strange that.
And if they did
That's
have a
been-
battery,
that's
That's
been
a battery
coming in front of
later,
it.
that'd be nice.
and if they did have a battery, they could sell their excess electric back to Eon at 40p.
To my mind, it made more sense £10 on a battery rather than £20. But it's up to them, they're organising it, and they
Yeah.
might have other
Yeah.
stuff on the go, they might even already have a battery for all we know.
Suggest we give half.
Alright, yeah, I'll go with that.
I think I'm inclined to give something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because it's so.
Because of the
it's
nature.
really terrible saying no to it.
I don't mind what they look like, Mary. I've got to do the right thing by the taxpayer.
Yeah, but it's one of our priorities, isn't it? So.
Just when I'm trying to interpret this question, we were discussing before, they said the grant application will be made to the Bright Green Community Trust for the majority of the balance of the capital investment. Are they saying that as was being picked up, the cost of the installation is 8,170 and they're applying to the Bright Green Trust for the cost of the panels?
I just really feel like we need more information. I really
Well,
do.
that's the quotation there.
I don't want it to be a
So is the detail that it's just the panels or it's the whole?
It doesn't read like that. It doesn't seem very cheap, doesn't it?
And also, the thing is that I wouldn't.
Who's quoting?
Yeah, that's what
What's it called? Core Tech Electrical Services.
Cortec.
Oh, Cortec, I've used them.
Just down the road from.
There's absolutely no way that it's just £9,000.
Unless the
Unless they've already done.
unless the hot tech are doing.
Huh?
Well, maybe we'll go for half. I'm happy to second half of
Can we build a safeguarding? If we say that we're willing to give 50% of this, 2,500, on the basis that is the total cost.
Oh, that they get the rest of the grant from the Bright
Oh, indeed, yes. Yes.
Green Energy
And it's
Trust.
subject to them getting the rest of it.
Yeah.
So we could approve it tonight.
On the basis of that. Yeah.
And the trouble about that is you get in a bind, don't you? Because then if we won't give them money, then they won't, they won't.
No, but if
Yeah,
they-
We'll have a confirmation.
Okay, fine.
we give it just subject to them getting
Yeah.
the rest of the money. We're not going to give them 2,500 if they can't get the rest, so.
We've just done that with Tommy Library, exactly that, giving them letters.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's pretty awkward.
Are we okay with that?
It's pretty awkward for organisations.
2,500.
We're a bit inconsistent because we've done 50% of the project for Brockles Bowling, and we've done 50% of the grant request for this.
Almost plastering and painting, this is.
One of that's for Brockles Bowling.
Sorry,
But again, 50% of the project cost is £4,500. It's almost a five. I'm always conscious about the consistency of it, that's all.
I think we're up on council for consistency.
But the rule is we are inconsistent. I think that's with all councils.
Well, then we're all right
We should
then.
strive for some degree of consistency.
We're not going to find one size fits all, are we?
No.
All these have their own merits, and I think
And we can always revisit it, can't we? And if we've got some money at the end and it does fit the criteria of the council that we like, doesn't it?
Are you okay with that?
I'm going to live with it, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're going to come back to it at the end anyway, aren't we? And might adjust a lot of these.
Okay. Move on. So this is Hepworth Band. Next stage of work to refurbish the band room building, creating a new flexible ground floor community studio space.
Again, they've had £7,389 from Parish Council in the last 3 years, 3 separate grants, 2 for the band room and 1 sort of separate, more project and event type award.
You see, I think they've been a little bit cute with the way that they've presented this, and that the total project cost is 40,705, and they're only asking for 5,000.
Yeah, and then,
But then they've tacked all sorts of things on it. haven't they?
yeah, I think it seems to be they want money to start the work, but there's nothing in here saying how they're going to get the money to complete it. You know, a lot of the work is just fundraising other grants, so I know they've already got 5,000, I think, haven't they, from something they did last year, but it seems to me to be well short. And if we fund this, when will it complete?
Yeah. Well, presumably those first 2 bits, preliminaries and remedial works, I guess we'll complete those if we get them that grant, and then we'll come back and say that bit's done. But there'll be little point doing it, would there, if they're not going to carry on?
Yeah, but even those 2 first bits are 16,000, aren't they? And they've only got,
Sure.
if we give them 5 and they've got 5, that's only 10, they still haven't got the money.
Why are they doing the floor before they're fixing the roof?
That's the way we do it.
What?
They're not,
Well, we might do it here at the Civic, hence why it's leaking.
they're not doing the roof, are they?
What's wrong with the roof?
It's the ceiling.
Oh, it says
Suspended ceiling.
flooring, so it says preliminaries work, strip out ground floor, remedial works, floor repairs, joinery works, insulation, plastering package, electrical package, suspended ceiling.
We
I
did
guess this is the ground floor, isn't it? They've already done the first floor, so in effect, this is the roof of the ground floor rather than the roof of the building.
Yeah, we did give them 3,000 for the roof repairs 3 years ago, so that might have been part of that.
I'm just wondering what exactly do they get extra from this? But clearly they're managing as they are, aren't they? They have a floor that they use for the band. It can be used for individual and group tuition and also by other groups, but which other groups? Is there a demand for it? I don't know. It's a huge sum of money, isn't it, for, you know, at the moment, brass bands aren't exactly that popular anyway.
I'm also looking at, there's something we perhaps know from other documents, but their income last year was 68,000, their expenditure was 85,000. Where was that?
Might be repairing the building, might it?
Did they dip into reserves? Was that through grants? And we gave them some, but
Can I just make an observation? I think this is the only grant application you've got from specifically Hepworth.
There ain't much in Hepworth. Can't
It's
live
in
there.
It's a brass
Jackson
band.
Bridge.
There ain't much
I
there.
think where it was, is it?
Yes, in Jackson Bridge, it's why that, you know, where they have not yet built on those houses, that, the one on the right.
There will be
It's a big
currently,
building,
will be
it's a
currently
big-
4 foot
a
deep
big
in flood
building.
water from
A
my
big
hills.
What's our feelings on this?
I wonder if we could just defer it to further down the list.
Feel more comfortable trying to make it some kind of decision now and return to it, otherwise we'll get one list of deferrals.
My inclination is it's quite a weak application in that.
Could
They've done all
I
right for
have
us.
something reapply in February when they've got,
We'll turn them down then.
no, with more information, because it is, you know, it doesn't quite hang together, does it, this one?
I think that, I think,
Reapply with
sorry.
more detail.
I would support that. If they have got a much better plan as to how they're going to come up with the other £30,000.
I'd like to know how they're going to use it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do they need it?
But they're not going to. I would imagine they're not going to do all this work before February, are they?
No.
So you know, it's.
Right. Is that the proposal? We'll ask them to reapply with more detail of
Yeah, how are they going to do the fundraising?
what use do they intend making of it? How will it benefit the community in a wider sense?
Who else they applying for? I know it's really difficult to get a first grant, because after you get a first grant, then other grants will come in behind it, but it would be good to know which of the funders they're applying for.
Okay.
Yep.
The next one then is Holford Tech.
So, in terms of previous awards, they've received 25,000 from the parish council in the last 3 years.
Currently have reserves of 30,000. And this will be used to install a suspended ceiling, soundproofing and the dance studio.
Can I just say, have we had a grant like this before for a music room that was for soundproofed room and didn't we have that before? That came last time, a music room that sounded very similar to this dance studio.
It's a different room, though. It's a different room. I suppose I tend to feel that that's a lot of cash.
I just don't. I just think that I'm not comfortable with the consistency of applications every time. It's not just one application every time. It's always 3, and we've had many a conversation about it when Charles was chair and other things, that it just seems like it's a bit of a cash cow. I'm not going to pretend I like the idea of the tech. I don't. I'm not going to pretend that I like the constant flow of applications. There's other people in the valley that are doing equally as many community-based things that are not consistently asking for money. So I'm sorry, but I move to refuse because
This is the only application from the tech, though, isn't it? This time.
No, there's a project reward.
I think
The nest is sort of separate
No,
It's the net, yeah.
It's a different kind of application.
no, it isn't. There's a heating one.
I think that's another point though, isn't it? That there are organisations that are coming forward for grants that are using the tech. So we're paying the tech for the hire of rooms. So the money's going to, or part of it's going to the tech. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just making an observation that not only do we have the direct grants from the tech, indirectly we're giving them money for rental of rooms.
There's a lot of
They've
things.
done okay, haven't they?
Could
About
say that about
25,000.
any group anywhere, couldn't we? But then, I mean, I suppose I feel they have had substantial number of grants and it's not absolutely basic stuff, is it? Well, it's to stop the sound leaking, really, isn't it? And the suspended roof and improve installation.
I mean, there is one further down that I'm not against at
I've
all.
got strong feelings I don't know.
But I move to refuse because I just think it's just a constant cash cow. I've told her to her face, I'm not bothered. So
I think on the basis that they've done all right from us
Yeah.
already, I think.
there's more deserving causes in the
I think
valley.
so.
So I'm for refuse on this
I think I
example.
would say the same. Any other views?
Well, I think that, to be fair to them, there's the building, and then there's the activities within the building. So we do need to look at them separate. When we're looking at the building, compare it to this building and the kind of bills that we've encountered here, and some of those other community buildings, the tech is large, and there's a lot for them to cover. So I appreciate that they've had like 30,000 in capital over the last few years, but for a building that size,
Yeah, but that's just
Don't
from
go
us,
a long way.
Charles. And at the end of the day, we own this building, it is our responsibility.
I think that's a big
And
difference.
that is the difference.
Well-
I mean, I'll just buy a building down road then and start throwing bills your way, because I can get a grant and see how we feel about it then. Do you know what I'm saying though? I could buy the library and just set all the old council buildings and decide I wanna make them a warm space, a community, take over loads of other things that, you know, I get it's a community space, but so's Homley Library, and they don't come every time for the same amount.
no, but I mean, for some of them, I feel almost like we should almost draw a line under, you know, but you can't say to somebody, we're not gonna
I'm not saying
entertain you without, if you like, giving them some notice of it.
No, I've said there's one further down that I do agree with the grant, I don't agree with this grant.
Yeah.
That's it, because it's always for us to maintain the building, we don't own the building, they took the building on. They started a charity, they've got people who invest in it, they've got tenants in it, if their tenants aren't covering the rent and the costs, they need to put the rent up.
I mean, it is a building which provides absolutely invaluable services, which it's complementary really, I think, to what the Silk provides. I think, and it is doing things that no one else is doing. I suppose my feeling is that they have had quite a lot of money from us and they could perhaps try applying elsewhere.
They do quite apply elsewhere and they get refused because they don't have enough funds. They have been refused by other community grants because the numbers don't stack up. It's not only us that think the numbers don't stack up.
Well,
I'm just saying, just need a different business model.
I mean, I don't want to get into a, you know, it's the tech, so therefore we're not supporting them. I think we're going to look at each on its own merits, haven't we?
Yeah.
Each application on its own merits. And I think this one for me is a little bit weak, given that we've given them so much money in the past.
I mean, the reality is they've already got a dance studio, haven't they?
Yeah.
We just want to improve what they've got.
Yes.
So make it more savable, so it impacts the users less, but it's not that there aren't people already using it. They just want to improve it, so it's not like it's the fundamental buildings and the floors, if we don't give them any money, it's purely simply just make it better, that's what they want to do. I think in this case I'm in favour of saying no.
Thank you.
Okay? Are we saying no?
Well, they're not going to say no.
Well, let's have to go to a
I've
vote.
already said.
Yeah, Mary's already said no, in a quiet way.
No?
I'll say yes, but just a bit different.
Yes,
Because I
it's
think when you
different,
read out
that's
the
all right.
criteria at the start, it's on the criteria, what we give grants for.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I would have justified it.
Okay, next one. Home Village Community Centre. Installation of plumbing and toilets on the first floor of the soon to open community centre in Home Village.
So we gave £5,000 3 years ago to connect them to the national grid, if you remember.
Chair, can I just say, I don't know if anyone else did this, they had an open day over this weekend, 2 days.
Yeah, they've had some running competition or something like that.
And I went to the open day, I was really, first time I've been in that centre, I don't know if others have been in it, I'm really impressed with what they've done. They really wanted to pass on their appreciation for what the parish council has done for them before, so plaque going up and everything else. But they've also they've put in a lot of community effort into this, but they've been really proactive in accessing other funding sources as well. And it's looking absolutely great downstairs. It's the old Liberal Club. Looking absolutely great downstairs. Upstairs is stripped out, but it's on its way. And personally, I was well impressed.
Is that half over the road to the school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the school's going to be using some of their facilities. They've got Mount Pleasant School from Lockwood coming out to do stuff there. They've got primary health services going in. A lot of stuff going on. It's not just, a function of the local village.
I thought this was an excellent application. I think, you know, it's like an exemplar of how an application should be.
Yeah.
Everything was thought through and explained, and I really like that. Well, I think it was one pleasant, but you know, the link with the school in Huddersfield.
So there's a very strong community spirit
Yes.
involved in that.
Yes, and they have been, obviously, they have been very proactive. They've got lots of money from elsewhere.
Yeah.
haven't they?
Very detailed about
Yes,
where
very
from.
detailed about it. I'd be inclined to give them a full. I would suggest we give them a full.
I think that's a good idea, I second that.
Okay. Full amount?
No consistency.
Subject to where we end up, get to at the end.
Yeah. We've got 41,000 left.
In total.
No, we've got 4 more to do, and we've got 40,000.
And actually, just to say, no,
Four assets left, and we've got 40,000 left, yes, for February as well.
Out of 53.
Out of 53, yeah.
So we've got the next.
So next one is just hoop.
No.
Does anybody know which premises they're talking about?
They're going to move. I asked exactly that question. I thought, I looked at this, well, how am I the only one that's not heard of this? And I thought it's Bottoms, it must be the Turners.
Oh, it is in
Yeah,
Bottoms.
it's down right, it says Bottoms Mill, yeah.
So it's on that, yes, so it's on the
space.
Their address is Bottoms Mill.
But I think they've been up at the school, I think they've started,
Yeah,
they've been operating for 2 or 3 years up at the high school. And I'm not sure how far, I kind of had a feeling about the timing of this. Is it too early to be asking for this in terms of where they are in the development of that particular new premises?
I thought we didn't provide for sports
we
equipment.
don't. We don't provide sports equipment.
We don't provide sports equipment. Because we had this conversation last time. We had to turn down lots of sports equipment applications.
What is sports equipment? It's adult sports equipment.
Well, you need it to score.
Yeah, no, we say
I need a football goal to score.
In a wider sense,
Did we say equipment or kit?
It was equipment because a couple of football people asked for
wasn't there
I
something?
think it was more cricket, I think it was
Yes.
Honley Cricket Club was.
schools, I think
Nets
it was
on
nets,
London.
nets,
Site screen, I think, in Honley that we looked at.
and also some football equipment for Hepworth, some all sorts of stuff. I'm sure it's parish.
It's a bit the general project is a bit broader than that. I didn't know about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
about that. So because I was saying yes, it helped them get started and so because they have good social and inclusion.
Yes.
Don't they? And they're talking about cafes and community spaces and so on. Which okay, it's a well written application. You know, the proof of that pudding will be in the eating. But 100 regular men, you know, aiming for.
There is no
general-
basketball provision in this area, closest
No.
one's Sheffield.
Yeah, but and again, it's not football clubs, cricket clubs.
No,
They have to be
it's
competitive, don't they?
to a
Rather than
level.
social.
Mm.
You know, we've given money to a bowling club, maybe. You know that kind of thing.
It's wider aims, I think
It
it's
is
quite
right.
good, aren't
And I just wondered, in the context of the discussion, whether just saying, well, look, we like your application, but we don't give money for that. Just shuffle your list down at the bottom. And so we're not buying you basketball goals, you know, toilets, changing your kitchen we do, or something to do with your cafe. And we'll put it, so long as you can put our money under that heading, we can give you some.
Yeah, but me and Jen were talking about this earlier today, and we're just making the point that it will attract, you know, it will be more attractive to ethnic minorities.
So to girls playing sports.
So one of the volunteers contacted me through Facebook today, and I'll just read out this bit that he says. So he's one of the people who sort of supports the session. One child in particular was a bit overweight, had no confidence and struggles with basic social interaction. He's now one of our best players in the 10 to 12 age group. I have actually formed a great friendship with him and his mum, and his mum took me to one side and thanked me for all I have done, as he has completely changed, she said. So, I mean, I think it's got that social element to it that, you know, that we look for in terms of the priorities of the parish council. But yeah, I think Councillor Rostron is right, perhaps it needs a different spin.
So if we ask them to think about reapplying in February with
They might be
Toilets or
close to where they
something.
need to be in February.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
There are
yeah,
things
front
running
of
around
the
us as well, aren't there?
Yeah.
It'd be very detailed about where they're getting their money, hoping to get money.
applications,
Lots of
yeah.
business cards as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
It would be nice if there's a bit of a gap in there in that
It's
area.
a massive
Going
project.
for,
Yeah.
you know, because there's no like, you've got to walk it over, haven't you, instead, and there isn't anything further up until you get to like a public house, so to be fair, there is like a
In the
gap.
depths of Cambridge.
Yeah, I feel we ought to support them, so, I really ought to support them, I think they're doing wonderful, good stuff, aren't they? But I mean, that's still my question about what exactly constitutes sports equipment. You know, I obviously see bats and balls seem to move around, but.
Yeah, I would say that the working group did make this point about sports equipment, like you say, but they also made the point that they didn't want to be so
Rigid.
rigid that you couldn't support things that didn't necessarily fit in with those criteria.
Because I mean, we're
For other
probably
reasons.
really happy to give them the £5,000 towards one of the other things on that list.
Yes.
Yeah,
Toilets,
towards,
changing
yeah,
Indeed, toilets.
the flooring. So,
So what are you suggesting?
Are you
Proposing
suggesting-
something? Nobody else is proposing out there, the floor is open.
we could ask them to reapply, but put it under a different heading, which
And could we like flag it to come?
Yeah.
just.
Do you want to, I mean, we could kind of separate off some
Ones
months,
from last
you
time.
know, because we're dealing with the 60-40 thing, aren't we, where we're deferring so many that we might end up with rather more money than.
I mean, in the meantime, I wouldn't mind going along and see, I mean, we
Yeah.
can't go along and see what they're doing there yet, because they're not really operating as
Then
yet.
it'd be a conflict of interest, so you wouldn't be able to. So why would
If I
we
get the ball,
So then don't.
believe me, there's no chance of you getting through the best.
I'm not about forces,
It's a
I'm
nice
about
distinction, yeah.
conflict of interest, so I would
They
stay
didn't want
away.
any basketball for the other 50s.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you for that. Good man.
I thought I'd include myself.
And that's around that time.
Right, and I'm laughing myself.
Sorry.
Could we say that we will give them a certain amount of money? Could it's, in the same way we sent them on without a time limit.
Well, we could do that.
Yeah,
We could do that tonight and here and now, couldn't we?
Yes.
We could just say
willing to
I bet you
do
can
that.
find, but not
Yeah.
towards basketball courts.
Yeah,
For the court itself, that's not equipment. That's
Yeah.
the
That's facilities.
yeah.
And it says- Sports England crowdfunding business loan. So I would anticipate that there'd be £5,000 hole in that, and the crowdfunding and business loan could go towards the basketball goals.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just really a case of shuffling it around, and rather than asking them to reapply, if you wanna
The obvious one.
do it now.
Yeah, the obvious one is the toilet.
Yeah, so why don't we say that then, we give them the full amount?
Well, if they've applied for lottery funding specifically for that, we better put it somewhere where they've still got more general.
Yeah,
like
that's
true.
crowdfunding.
That's
The
right.
electrics and the plumbing.
Yeah, they can crowdfund for that.
So that's the point about the basketball court itself, because they're looking at doing crowdfunding. So if they've already put loads of grants out there, well, I think there's room in that.
Well, let's
So-
not get too complicated with this. Let's ask them to reapply. And when they do, we'll look at it favourably.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we could.
We can
could
say
do it-
we'll give
we
it
can
them.
do it now and just say that that's what it's for, that it's going towards.
Well,
the
we
court.
could really.
I don't think we should specify that. I think we should say, our only specification should be, it's not for what they're asking. It's
Tell us what
something
you've
else.
spent it on, but it can't be on this.
We're very impressed by your application.
Why don't we say that? Can we say that?
Yeah.
Right, I move for
I
the
think
full
so.
amount then.
Yeah, why not?
Yes.
Okay.
Both format, yeah.
Okay.
Consistency and a bit of catching.
It's not like a consistency,
It's consistent consistency, and that's where the consistency comes.
Yeah, for the only consistency.
Well, there is no one size fits all.
No, there isn't, and it's a very good facility, there's no facilities between the edge of that road and Whitehorn Bridge unless it's a public house.
Just to stretch that analogy of there's no one size fits all, I do feel like we're almost sometimes in a jumble sale at TK Maxx or something. all the stuff's on the wrong hanger in the wrong section. but anyway,
I hope nobody is offended by Chelsea.
from Ticket, man.
Okay, next one. Upperthorne Village Hall. Replace the village hall roof which is leaking on a regular basis. It's not on this one. They've had £11,000 of grants from us.
For any of them for fixing roof?
Yeah.
The last one,
Yeah, the other one and a half.
But now falling.
the last one hasn't been spent yet.
Right.
So I think this is a very simple one. You say
No.
no.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had £11,000 from us in the last 3 years. A lot of it's been on the roof. They've not spent the last £4,500
Do you like the
on the
recommendation of a
roof.
good roofer?
Yeah.
Oh, so the double
they printed.
They weren't scheduled for October, so they've obviously got the money and they're planning on doing it. Well, it says somewhere that.
Yeah,
they're
that's
scheduled
right.
for
That's right.
October.
But
But I think they've now decided that they need to do the whole roof rather than just repair that we've given them the money for.
Well, if they've left it since February, then I'm not surprised it is.
Anyway, we're saying no.
Anyway, let's
Yeah.
let's move on. Friends of Home.
Go on, go on,
No, you don't have to leave, just say it.
well, do that.
Don't move your eyebrows or your face, look like you have both on, it'll be fine.
Fully hooded up.
Yeah. Don't have to leave.
Right, Friends of Home. Replanting with drought tolerant biodiverse planting.
Drought tolerant,
Mm.
is that to, we're approving that today on our
No,
I have literally
Probably-
drove through the reservoir on the way down the hill.
It's climate variability, and I think is perhaps the bigger issue. And the fact that, not so long ago that we're having empty reservoirs.
so this is a repeat of one from last year, seasonal planting of last year, 1,500 quid we gave them. And we gave them 2,000 the year before for village centre improvements, which was simply, it seems to be the sort of theme of the organisation and part of the thing.
I don't have a view.
What, this is ticked as a community benefit grant, isn't it?
Well, it's for stuff. It's not really an event, or it's.
Oh, they done that ticking.
No, I did that.
Oh, you did that one.
It didn't fit in a box, you chose that one.
Well, it didn't fit in a box, and then we had more money in this pot than the other pot.
So you just did it.
It is sort of green, isn't it? It's it for improvement.
I'm happy to move it.
Happy,
Yeah,
fine to give them.
It's a cross between that and community.
I think it's a good one. We don't, Bonn is a massive place.
Yeah, and in the valuation report they did for the previous year, it was obviously a part of the thing was just getting people involved as much as what
Yes.
the outcome was. There was a lot of just people enjoying
Yes.
putting,
It would be
doing
enjoying
their
to do,
bit.
wouldn't it, but yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good idea, or we're just gonna give it a...
Obviously, they've only asked us for 1,500 to 3,700, so.
Oh, so they're already ticking our box, they know what we're like, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone vote that one?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one I saw,
Don't pay barriers.
fairly interesting this one. I know too many people there.
Right, can I have nothing to do with unfair barriers, except for they run past my house. Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I think we should move for this. Solar panels, batteries. It's sustainable, green, and it's sensible because it's alright having panels, but the knack all use without batteries. And I think it's a good way of.
No, I know. Just that is not your place. That is not your place. But they have £138,000 in reserves.
Yeah.
Well, it don't cost much to run uphill, does
So I
it?
think they're saying they're setting that aside.
They are.
In the hope that they
They
can
are.
build a running track.
Yeah.
We do have a very big popular
Yeah.
base, don't
Yeah.
we? On a Tuesday when I come back from football,
Yeah.
it's like a marathon running between Onley and Brockles.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying about funding, but
I'm happy to second it. The only thing I would draw people's attention to is this is what I would describe as more of like a solar package, which makes the other one seem even more peculiar.
I'm
where it's
just not even.
you know, because this is the full kit. And it probably would be as big a system. What is it for? For example,
So we've obviously had a survey or a quote because they're very specific about how much carbon dioxide they're going to save, aren't they?
13 kilowatt. So
Yeah.
that's like it's
How many?
13 kilowatt. That's a
13.
double house, isn't it?
13 kilowatt.
13
Yeah.
kilowatt, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a double house.
That's quite a lot, 13 kilowatt.
It's quite cheap, isn't it?
And then a
Very
4.8
cheap,
kilowatt
isn't it?
battery. Yeah, but I'm happy at second day. I think it's.
It's where we want it to go, it's the journey.
All of it?
How much?
5,000 of it, yeah.
How much have we got?
We have,
Would you like to overspend?
34,800
Yeah.
left. Oh no, you're adding on.
And that's what's up to the 60%, is it?
That's under the six, oh, all of it from the whole.
No, but for, yeah.
It's 53 on
Is that
It's
34? That would take us to the 60% of the total annual, the year's amount. Yeah. Ish.
Hey, Sean knows.
No, we must be sure of that. Let's look at those to go, aren't
No, because they're a different grant
Yeah.
thing.
we? Yeah.
That's the last one under that then.
And 5,000, yeah.
Yeah. I know they've got a lot of money, but there's a lot of members, a lot of benefit.
Yeah, so we've got 29,
Go on, Martin.
I was just going to say, I just got the impression we just granted about 17,500 with 5,000 earmarked for further grant.
we've awarded 23,200
Out of
53,000.
53.
And that's the end of that list.
Yeah.
That's it, so you could go back and if you want to top up a couple of figures.
Yes.
Yeah.
One possibility.
We also, yeah,
Or allow a couple we turn down, whatever.
no.
So we've done 44%, we've got 56% left.
And are you including or not including the grant for the hoops, the basketball?
We've given them 5,000.
We've
Yeah,
given them the
five
money,
in.
we've given them the
That's
money.
included the 5 in.
Yeah.
Who did we say no to?
We said no to Brockles Village for plastering. We said no to,
Well, we asked people to come back, so perhaps we should fit in the coming back aspect of it.
Yeah, that was bound to come back.
Epworth are coming back.
And refix that money.
Okay, well, all we've done then is gone 40-60 instead of 60-40, but if we tell them to come back, that's what we need to do, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just leave,
Seems
let's
about
just
right.
leave it as it is.
Yeah. Difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, so the difficult ones.
Okay, the next one. Home Valley Sharing Memories. Freelance fees for 2 community artists, taxis and refreshments for members of our next arts project based on shadow puppetry.
I know what shadow puppetry is, I'm not that uncultured.
Doing it.
I think that would help.
Hopefully there's a bit more
I
to
would
it.
say, I'm a bit better than that, right?
So their total project cost is 15,220 and they're asking for 1490 from us.
Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean that there isn't an audience for it.
What do you say?
I'm just saying that it does float my boat, but obviously, you know, I'm just saying that.
Theatres for it in Prague.
One thing I find difficult to, it doesn't quite sit right with me is that,
The taxes.
no, we pay,
No, they need
we
the
pay
taxes.
people, we pay people, aren't we, pay wages. You know, if these the lead artist and the support artist were coming in and saying, well, we're doing it at half our normal rate, you'd think, okay, we've got to support them. They're coming out of this all right, aren't they?
Well, they are really, and
Yeah, £250 a day. for the
Jesus
person
Christ,
who's
how
working.
much?
Yeah, 250 a day for the lead artist and 200 a day for the support artist.
And the project manager.
Probably close, right?
No, we're not.
I'm obviously in the wrong job. Having to save money in the
Well,
NHS.
no, I think when you've got freelancers, you do need to recall that whilst they're needing to earn money every day, they're not always getting paid every day, and there'll be lots of activity taking place trying to acquire jobs.
And they've got their own costs. And
Well, exactly. Yeah, and then it, you know, after you've paid your stamp and whatnot, and your travel costs. It's not
Well, can I put forward that we suggest half of the grant?
Well, the total, so
It's not much, I would
the labour element of it is a lot, but it comes to 15 grand total, and they're asking us for 1490. And to be brutally honest, I'm happy to give them 1490 for this project. If, you know, it's up to them where they get the rest of the money from, but I'm comfortable with 1490. I do think, you know, you never know, some of those performance costs, it might be, if the artist is working at half price, do you put it in as 250 and then a donation of 125, or do you put it in as 125? And I never quite know on what basis they are working, but 1490 is the ask on 15 grand project. I'm happy to close 14.
I think in a wider sense, you know, it's fulfilling a social requirement.
Yeah, that's like I said, just as you don't understand it.
No, I
it's-
don't quite
It's
get it, but that's me.
It's a modest amount, and they're trying really hard. It's a really long list of other funding bodies they've applied to, so, you know, they're really trying to get some more cash.
I agree. Quite a few of those have yet to decide, and whether that's yet another one, will this go ahead if they don't get that other funding?
I think we should just give it a full
And
stop.
they have applied to us before being accepted and turned down.
Yeah.
They know that we're not easy to.
But you know, back to the point, there's 13,940 in the pot. We've got applications for 15,862. We've got another grant cycle in February as well, so we've got to be careful.
Yeah, we don't want to box ourselves in, do we?
Well, we can still look at scaling back.
Yeah, approve it, yeah.
Approve it
for this.
and then come back at the end. Okay.
We don't want to be in a situation where February we've got 10 bob left and 10 million. Okay, the next one is Welcome Club run by Holly Village Community.
So, Jen, you said that you've been to the Welcome Club before.
I'm not going to take time.
She
Well,
can't,
can't
she
you?
can't, she
Can't
can't
even ask
talk,
an
no,
opinion?
no,
No.
not really.
Why don't you ask? Because I might be able to answer it. If
So-
I've never been,
Have you never, yeah, but you know a bit about it, don't you?
I know a bit about it.
Right.
I mean, the grant evaluation report we got from them was really good. It was probably one of the best ones we've had, and
It started off as a, well, it started off around the time of Ukrainian resettlement, but it was intended to be broader, but in fact it's completely morphed. And so its main purpose now really is for, if you like, an older end.
Like a social club for like, because I think that would be good, you know, especially with the cold weather coming and people struggling
That's what they say.
for social
That's what they say.
isolation.
yeah, 45 to 50 people.
I mean, it's a modest amount,
It's
isn't
a
it?
very modest amount.
Yeah.
The only thing sort of pushing slightly the other way is that they've had previous grants of 25,000.
Oh, that's
No, that's the village.
That's the village trust though. That's not the welcome club.
No.
That's the whole. That's the
No,
whole
I
trust.
understand.
Yeah, we can't do that though, because there's one further down that has to go to the tech that's valid and they've had millions out of it.
Okay.
So you can't really take that into
I mean,
consideration.
it's a modest amount, and it seems to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said before. I mean, it's a difficult thing with Honley because the village community trust do so much of the work.
But everything
You
else
can't-
is done.
It's very much an umbrella organisation.
Yeah.
That's the bit of it.
Sometimes they do try and take the piss with Christmas decorations, but other than that, they're alright.
That's a technical question. Are you allowed to run a trust with one trustee?
I think
No,
it's
no,
10.
no,
I think it's a
It's just that welcome group.
A mistype.
If it was one of the trustees is involved
So-
in this,
so
sort of-
No,
The
I think
van-
there are 10 trustees.
No,
I
the-
think it's a mistake.
Oh.
Because we
Yeah.
look at the next application,
yeah.
that says 10. No, I don't think you are actually.
No, that's a good question.
So the money side is looked after by Village Trust, but the operations, it's Carol and Margaret who do the organising on the Mondays, if you like. But yeah, I'm fairly sure Mary's correct that that's a typo. The Welcome Club itself, you wouldn't describe as a kick or a trustee or anything. It's a lot looser than that. That's why it sits under Village Trust.
I suggest we at least now give them the full whack. And
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, good. All in favour of that one? Thank you. Converse Film Festival. Screening 50 films from around the world.
You do that, Croydon Community Centre.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Not the film festival, but a group of old
No.
boy farmers show vintage tractor
Oh,
lawns.
actually, so- Sorry.
Every second
Decided what-
second
Oh,
Thursday in the
sorry.
month, you know what I mean? Do that if you want.
Just don't understand your words.
So, the total cost is 2,700. They're asking for £1,000 from us. We've given them grants previously of 2,500. Currently have reserves of 16,600.
What venue are they trying to rent?
I think they're only here, aren't they?
I mean, we're not into realms of fantasy to see these guys as a rolling grant.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason we haven't given it as a rolling grant was last year they applied for those culture voucher things, if you remember, rather, because normally they apply for this, the year before they applied for this, but then the culture voucher thing kind of confused things a little.
Doesn't actually say, does it? Specifically for venue hire in the whole valley, but I thought it was here.
I mean, they use lots of venues, don't they? I mean, they're all over the shop.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in
They're in
nowhere, aren't they? So,
Have you had a proposal?
No, do you want to propose?
I'll propose council.
I think it's a good idea, because if you use lots of venues, then it's inclusivity, and then you don't travel to them because they're just out road, you can walk. I think it's a very good thing, it ticks lots of options, boxes. So, yeah.
do we want to consider a rolling grant for it?
No, because they might not come next year, we might say they're
I think we should invite them to come and talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we
Yeah.
move to the phone now. Thank you. Newman Male Voice Choir.
Oh, I've written the wrong amount down on
Is it really 15 grand?
it's 13, it's 1,300 rather than 1,500.
This grant will contribute to the design and production of recruitment materials to enable successful recruitment projects to happen.
So they're looking for us to help them recruit new members.
Yes, it's a slightly strange
I find myself.
thing. I'm struggling to get it to fit in terms of we've got to have legal powers to award things.
We've not given them grants previously.
It is a social event. There's
It's
not much for
21,000.
men in the valley,
There
although it
isn't
is.
an event though, is it? It's,
I suppose it is a hobby thing though, isn't it?
yeah.
And although it's not very inclusive, just saying.
Well, there are some
That's
actual limitations with male voice
That's
choir.
what you mean.
They accept trans, just ask.
Well, as long as they've got male voice.
It's alright then.
Yeah.
No, don't go
I'm only taking the
We're on
bit
camera,
out, it's
let's
fine.
Yeah.
There are female tenors, there are quite a lot of female tenors.
All I'm saying is, I think it's a good mental health thing.
It is a very good thing. I'm just not convinced that what they're planning to do will achieve what they want to do, but that's, I guess, not for
There's
for
nothing
us to
tangible
decide.
here, is there?
I can't see that doing any of these things are going to get people pushing in to join them.
You've got
But
website
it's up to them,
changes.
isn't it?
song arrangements, photo shoot, design of recruitment.
How are they going to do that? Brad Pitt?
And publish on the recruitment team.
Perhaps that's the idea.
Maybe they're going to ask David Beckham to say that he's a
I think
member.
they're a couple of zeros short of hiring there.
I think they do a pretty good job. I seem to remember the posters stuck around the town or the breach and whatever, asking exactly this, you know, we need more
Members.
content, more centres, yeah. Well, and trying all sorts of things like kind of, you know, a trial
If that's
session.
failed then,
You think they're not women, it's kind of, because that's exactly what they do, but they just,
still can't manage it.
well, no, but they just do it.
Yeah, and that's what I think these guys do as well, from what I remember. Could be wrong.
And people,
I've seen it.
some people do, but we don't appeal to everybody, does it? That's the thing.
No, I think Colston Male Voice Choir in Sheffield
There's a
isn't
new
it?
song about the choir. It doesn't sound exactly.
It's
I don't know.
just like Shadow
Everybody's
Puppets,
just
just because it's not our thing.
I just don't feel as though there's very much tangible here. It's, we want to do this and it might work, but it might not.
So they've taken the idea from a conference, haven't they, in Peterborough?
I'd like to support this organisation.
I
but
do.
I agree. I'm
I
not
just
sure I want
think-
to support this particular project.
I just think it's just not got enough substance to it. I'd just like to see a little bit more. I think it's a very good thing to be involved in. I think that it would be good for mental health and people want to try new things. I think it's a very good idea. I'm just not quite sure how a photo shoot will achieve it.
I think more emphasis on the design and production of recruitment flyers, banners, brochures, rather than the idea, where is this song going to go out, you know, to...
I wouldn't say that in the
You
online.
know, it's-
Well, yeah.
I mean, I know from
It's going to go on the website, you know.
you can get a song written and sometimes it'll be brilliant, they can go out there and everybody will like it, but equally they can be a huge flop. There's no guarantee here this will work.
Something imaginative on social media, let it go viral. Whatever the phrase is.
Or
Maybe
some-
you
or
know, like
something
if it
basic, like,
Yeah, go into a community event.
so I'm just looking at what's covered by this head, community benefit grants, festivals, projects, and there's almost, I almost feel like they could put on an event
The arts
all over the
festival,
spot and, you know, ask for funding to cover
the cost.
higher costs.
Mm.
And that in itself will not only entertain residents, but also help promote them, won't it, you know?
Yeah, they need to look at something like that, don't they? You
I
know,
think
with
maybe-
the arts festival and.
I got a feeling they're
I
coming to
think
the community event, aren't
they're
they?
coming to, they're singing at the community event.
Which is an opportunity to both, you know, present themselves, but also recruit volunteers. That's the whole point.
And we're not charging them, are we?
No, no,
Oh, well,
that's our
we're
We're not
expense.
paying them, well, we're not paying them either, so.
No,
In some way as well, they say we use some of our concerts to raise money for local charities, and if they do a concert with a particular aim in mind, or concerts to support that.
Do you know, like a Christmas caroling thing, or like,
We don't pay grants to raise money to give to somebody else.
no, I know that, but what I'm saying is if
To
they did
recruit
it,
for them.
yeah, they could recruit for them, it could be an opportunity to advertise, couldn't it?
It's difficult this, isn't it, because they kind of box themselves into a corner, and I can't, you know, with some of the others, we've managed to find a way through, but this one,
Yeah, but we're not doing the full grant award, so they could reapply in February
yes.
after they've done some free Christmas concerts.
I mean, if we could,
Let's come back with a different
I think we should apply.
idea.
I think we should.
I'm upset about this because I think it's a very good.
I
It
think,
is, it's
I
great,
think
and
the place in the community is very good and what they do is very good. I just don't think this
It's
aspect.
too nebulous, isn't it? It's a gamble,
It is.
for both councils.
Yeah, it didn't
It's
fit
a gamble
our
for the
criteria
councils and money.
well enough, but we're interested in giving something at some point.
We're supportive of the
consider
Consider applying again in February.
reapply in February, and, yeah,
okay,
give
are
us
we
some
all,
guidance about the kind of things that we would.
are we all on board with that one then?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Friends of Holy Library.
Go to sleep now.
Lost it.
It has to be structured, otherwise it's organised chaos, and then you just follow the grant decisions.
As simple as possible. They're a lot better than they used to be.
Yes. The grants working group have spent many an hour.
Absolutely.
So this is to extend and develop successful programme of activities for 0 to 16-year-olds at Holmley Library. Does that sort of summarise it? Again, a relatively modest amount, it's £850.
I think in the current climate of children and knife crime and getting up to mischief, that you should give them the money, because there's no provisions really outside. They live in a really rural area. They need to be busy and socialising in good environments, safe environments. It's £850. I move to give it them.
Yes, yeah, all right.
It's not very conservative of me, but I've said yes.
Okay, we're all in favour of that one?
So give membership funds.
Absolutely don't bother.
Takes up down the table.
I'd rather burn myself alive.
We're doing reading sessions.
Are there? I can already read, but thanks for the advice.
Okay, Walldale Community Group. Slight tangent to this, I wondered if this was one, not this application, but they come to us for,
Yeah, the rent of the,
I
yeah.
wondered if that could be a rolling grant.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of these smaller groups and they don't have a lot of funds coming in, but they do,
They do a lot.
They do a lot.
They do.
yeah,
They
exactly.
stop a lot of flooding and digging ponds and sorting out social areas.
What will they?
Yeah, they do.
I vote we approve this one.
I do as well, don't I?
Yeah.
All four
It's
things
so
together.
exciting.
Just be conscious of the, because they were very keen to make it clear that the £1,000 for the rent is much more important to them than this.
And they actually
So-
said
That was very honest of them.
yes, they've actually said, you know, they don't want to jeopardise that. I was giving them a few tables and chairs.
Well, it is only a few tables and chairs.
Yeah, but they need tables and chairs to raise money, don't
I'm
they?
just saying this is what they've said.
Yeah. They just don't want there to be no money when we get to February. essentially.
There will be though, because we've split the grant.
Yeah.
Although we're not spending it very well. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, so are we approving this one? Allworth Tech, provision of free warm meals. To Homebody residents during Warm Spaces project this winter.
Come on, Mary, say
Who wants to
something.
trigger this one?
Yeah, well, I'd just be good in support of this one. I think it's the stuff they do is amazing, and if you go there when the sessions are on, there are people there who don't go anywhere else, won't go anywhere else, really, and don't feel as though they've got a place in the valley. I think it's a brilliant project. So I propose we give them a place for starters.
Any other views?
I'll second that.
I'll not take that one.
She's not saying anything tonight, stabbing me up.
I just say that although it says down below, looking where other money is coming from, other funding sources, they do list in the content, in the text, a lot of other people who have helped them with these things. So charity parties, bank fair funding, that's where they look. And others, the Sharing Memories Community Group all help. So it is going to bring people in. It's a project in itself, it's a very worthwhile project.
Just wish they'd house it somewhere else.
I know.
Can't do it in the city.
It's the tech themselves that are doing this, isn't it?
And going back
So I
to
don't think they would house it anywhere else.
the priorities, I mean,
No, it is a
the most,
priority.
the
It's
most needy
completely.
people.
Yeah, it is right, and we do something similar, don't we, with the welcome group in Homley. It's equally matched. It's fair to give them the money. I agree with the thought process.
Okay, so we're moving to approve this one. We'll spend it a bit.
We've got
Did you vote?
£8,000.
And you voted,
Nearly.
or we drew my
We've
vote.
got £8,000 left with seven applications to go. And another cycle in February.
It's alright, it's okay.
See where we finish up. Where have we got to? The nest.
You know, I'm so sorry that this has to come to us and that need is not being met from the health and social care services.
What is it?
It's
Drop-in sessions.
support for families, support for pregnant mums and parents focusing on first year parenting,
Why is this not,
trauma,
why is it
housing
not
skills,
met by the local NHS trust?
and then refer on to the health visiting service and GP led programme.
Well, local,
It's to be funded by Kirklees.
and they've stripped it,
So the nest wasn't funded by Kirklees.
the
But this kind
provision.
of provision previously was funded by Kirklees, quite often delivered out of sewer starts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aren't they starting them back up? I thought that were one of your pledges.
Have you made some pledges?
Well,
No, Labour, it's like it's Labour in there.
Rachel hasn't rang yet, but when she rings,
Well, inside line, is this not something in the plan?
I'll send Keir a text after.
would you?
If you've got his number, I'm never speaking to him again.
I've got Keir Tancast.
No, but isn't it something that, I'm just saying.
No, on a
going
serious
forward-
thing, I think, I assume it's something that may or may not come up in the budget speech.
Yeah.
It's not good for us.
I'm not saying no, I'm just saying that.
So
surely
to go
there's
back to
some
the days when it
provision
was funded, even when it was funded, the provision in our area
was underfunded.
was a bit lacking anyway. So some proper sugar start centres were a proper hive and hub of activity supporting the local community. And ours was sometimes a notice board with some activities and events.
So then this nest situation, this charity, so are they gonna then look at, because if they start these Shore Star centres back up, would they then take our Shore Star off of that Shore Star centre?
Well, I don't think that's an issue for this application.
No, but I'm
Particularly if
just
they do it
asking.
every long time, don't I? They came to the nest lady presented at the Valenzanca meeting over at Carlisle. One of the points that was made was there was a lady called Tracy Crony from Meltham who used to work for Kirklees doing this, and when they closed it down, she'd set up on the Burnham Lane School in the former Shorestart bit a parent support group because it was needed. That's folded because of her ill health. So the only bit that's left now is the nest. So the nest we're looking at how we can cover a bigger geography. In terms of what they do,
They're not really paying themselves over the odds either, are they? It's quite a reasonable costing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to know more about it really, I'm not pulling it apart, I wanna.
For me, I'd move straight to fund it, you know, just with the looking to the future, because by spending this money now, it may solve bigger problems in the future. The proportion of children who arrive at primary now not potty trained, so, you know, not toilet trained rather, is horrendous, and there seems to be, as you mentioned, Shore Star, there just seems to be a huge gap in training young parents, and that has knock-on effects for the children. On a lighter thing, the cloth nappy is the green point. That's the last thing I want to start on. But
so where
Is that not true?
you mentioned
it says it. It says it.
Is it not true?
Well,
It is true.
yeah, it is true that they're talking about training cloth nappies.
Go on, Charles, what you can say?
So when you say that in this, what Lucala does, Lucala still does the what do you call it?
Basic
Not
district
clear.
plan, district plan.
They do that more formal bit of it, but so they work with them. It's not one or the other. Quite often, Lucala will be they'll have various people dropping in on the different sessions. So I got it as being as they're kind of, they're covering that space in a range of ways, and whether it's health visitors, somebody from
I'm just thinking like,
health locale, they drop into it,
so lots of ambulance trusts and NHS trusts have charities where they could apply for this, and because it would delay, it would help them not end up in A&E, you know, with like children that are in ill health and stuff. They could apply for grants from them as well. I'm not saying we're not going to give them a grant, but maybe like some directional grant applying.
It doesn't seem to say anything about other grants, does it, from what's there?
Do you know, I'm not saying don't give them the money, I'm just
No,
saying
no,
there's
no.
obviously some funding gap thing here.
They must have got money from somewhere though, aren't they? Because they're funding, must have been funding themselves. It says from next, presume it. They must have got funding from grant because they can't. If they don't charge anything, they can't have got it from anywhere else.
They say they've been unsuccessful grants though, don't they? Due to not working with
Yeah, for this one, yeah.
Go on, Charles, you must know.
I suggest we
Move to.
I could only speculate on it, but they might currently be getting some funding from locale to deliver these services. They are part and parcel of that
Care
bigger
package.
delivery process. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're getting some money from locale or Kirklees or NHS.
You would have
or-
thought that they'd get something from Kirklees, wouldn't you?
And the NHS though.
Well, it's all in and amongst these days, but.
We are where we are, and
Yeah.
I find this one odd, it's only for 15 weeks. The project is just 15, I mean, obviously what they're providing generally is just ongoing. But this, you know,
You might be concentrating on a known issue though, that's what you usually do, don't you? You find the issue. Yeah, but if you've got a known problem, you can 15 weeks embed it, can't you?
But they've got so much money that they can spend towards it, and there's more from us, but they might not be able to continue it past that first.
Or they might need to prove it as a pilot to
They've not
get the
said that,
funding.
but, yeah.
They might need to prove the concept as a funding until
Again,
they're secure.
they've
the
not
rest.
said it, but,
they
yeah.
haven't got huge reserves, have they? 5,900, so.
Doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised about that much.
seems it's just a constant quest for funding, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suggest we give them what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it raises a lot of questions about ongoing, doesn't it? How on earth are they going to keep going? They can't keep coming back to us.
Well, I don't know. You
Presumably
never know.
Is it meaning like that?
I guess they provide support of some sort at a meeting point, you know,
Yeah.
for parents and things. You know, it's just they wouldn't provide these experts, I
It's
guess.
just desperate, as you say, to share it's not been provided by the
Yeah.
state.
I mean, I'm just looking at the evaluation report from last time, and it looks, I mean, look at the, looks,
I think it's a very good cause. I think
Yeah,
we should
yeah,
approve
you
it.
can't.
And then
you can't fault it really.
No. But I'm just thinking, longer term, they need to be getting funding from elsewhere, don't
yeah, they need to be
The
looking
parish
at.
council isn't going to keep.
No,
this
but what
going.
I'm saying is, for example, if you are preventing admission to A&E by educating people, you can apply to the ambulance service. If you're preventing admission and healthcare costs from the NHS, you can apply to the hospital trust. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying don't give them the money, I'm just saying there's clearly like other avenues of better funding.
They need to be pursuing it, for sure.
Yeah, we've not properly sat down, so, yeah.
Anyway, so we.
Well, it'll be in service and provision.
Yeah, true.
Thank you.
Sorry for the long discussion, just investigating.
That was interesting.
Do you want me to feedback what you just said though about
Yeah,
I'd
we
like,
need to look elsewhere?
yeah, I'd like them to be looking.
it's not that we're not keen, it's just they could probably get a lot more money from
Yeah.
elsewhere.
They obviously have tried elsewhere, haven't they, in the sense?
Yeah,
Not specifically serving disadvantage, it's just so difficult that the funding rate.
You know, the parish council,
It's just.
You need
We
the
can't
time and the
talk to
expertise
them.
to apply for these grants elsewhere.
Yeah, they're not all easy like Mary's form, are they? You know what I mean?
okay, let's move on. Vocal expressions.
This is the one. You want me to go out, so shall I just
Yeah,
sit here
just do it.
quiet with no expression?
No expression.
Uniforms.
No folklore. What is expression?
Is this one that falls
It's
into?
uniform, we didn't say that.
It's a difficult
I
one.
feel like we've had the uniform debate before.
We've given money to one of the bands, I think, for uniform.
We have given money in the past, but I think
they did.
I think the resolution since then has been not to give,
Yeah.
because it's giving money, it's giving resources to individual people rather than
Yeah,
The group.
the group.
I mean, the aims in the wider community, I think, are great, but it is uniform, isn't it? So you can make an application for something else.
like what? Can I ask you a
Chairs.
voice box?
To sit on, oh, you don't see it when you sing.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit like the new mill choir bit,
Mm.
put on festivals and events. If they're going to put on a festival and they wanted some support for that, then we
Yeah.
go on that route.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, are we saying no to this one?
No,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Ask for a minibus.
Arts for health.
We started them before.
This is room rent for community-based shopping, cafe, music, film, and animation.
I'm thinking I probably should declare an interest really, because I know the people might.
Okay.
Okay.
That's one.
You
And
know,
help with
same
social-
thing, so
see-
same meeting, don't you?
Help with sessional work.
So that's
at home.
2 declarations then. That just leaves like nobody in the room. I don't know who they are, so.
Sorry, did you declare an interest as well, though, Councillor Bailey?
Mm.
I think so, yeah, I'm not sure.
Can you confirm if he knows the same people?
We had this debate.
It's
didn't
not an
we?
interest, it's your council.
week.
If you don't know, then that'd be difficult for it to.
If you're going to be inclined to support this because of friendships you've got with people in there, then you should declare an interest and not take part.
Oh, not friendship. Okay, I will take part.
Are you saying that you don't
Even
like
if
it? It was too easy that.
A gift.
Mary's
Yeah,
already
okay.
texted them and told them you don't like them.
Okay, this is essentially room rent and something else, isn't it? Help with sessional worker pay. Based at the Tech, they've not got very much in reserves, and they have had a previous grant from us for £1,500.
They're working with very marginalised groups.
But it's not because of where they are, but I'm not sure.
How many sessions they're looking to, or what period of time is it?
Majority of participants are women aged over 50. Safest. Strong claim. Dependent on state benefits.
Oh, so it's a 12-year project, 12-month project, I think that's.
We anticipate that over 100 people will benefit directly from our project in the course of 12 months.
It is mental health and it is in crisis.
Yeah, the arts thing I think is almost an incidental, isn't it? It's the stuff that goes on around that with
Yeah.
Yeah, they've sort of got them there under a false pretence, haven't they, of like painting a picture.
But if they're doing 40 sessions a year, bear in mind that it's, the person's like half covering it himself. That's pretty cheap, probably, isn't it?
Yeah, can't the Tech give them a bit of a room rent discount?
Well, it's rounded about in it, probably,
I was
Then we
thinking
can
as well,
start for a bigger grant.
the budget
In the
plan
centre.
for upgrading the equipment, match funding from the Arts for Health Director. So as an individual giving.
I don't, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
I saw that, I don't understand what that is. I suspect it's not that, but I don't understand.
Well, it's what my best guess would that be is they've probably been told put everything in there.
Mm.
And and that's stuff that the person running it is buying effectively for themselves, but to use. But if you strip that lot out and then you look at rent and sessional worker and you think of 40 sessions, that's an old, is it?
Yeah.
I'm happy to support it for the full amount.
I think it's a very good cause to support.
It is 40 sessions, isn't it? You said.
It says it's a weekly session
You're on
for
Thursday.
12 months,
Yeah.
so I'm making the assumption that there's going to be 40
I just
sessions.
don't see
I think
anything.
so.
But it doesn't
No.
say it, it just says weekly
Yeah.
for 12 months.
Yeah.
So, and we're moving to support this one.
That's nice.
25 quid a week, isn't it?
Okay. Holly Village Community Trust.
To down to £5,242.
And was that for February as well?
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to have a problem, aren't we?
Well, just have to scale back and everything.
Do we get to the end and think about scaling back some of them? We might as well go through to the end.
Yeah.
We got far. Holly Village Community Trust Halloween Party.
What I like with this one, and I think the next one that's coming up as well,
Good.
related to this, is we had this conversation, I think, previously about these particular activities where there was nothing, if they were asking for all the money and there was nothing being asked from other people, people that were coming and so on. Was it the wreath making?
Yeah. That was ridiculous.
And I can't remember what the outcome of that was.
It was a nerve.
But I'm not against supporting this, but I wouldn't support it for the full amount.
Yeah, I mean, it's really that no just in the box just shows a lack of effort, doesn't it, really, in the how do we employ elsewhere for grants.
I'm going to make a couple of comments on this. The one thing I have a problem with, two things firstly, is on some of the events, like some of the ones they've submitted the forms for what they've done, they've also charged for tickets, so they're making money on it.
Yeah, this is what we have a wreath making.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to charge for this, but it doesn't say it's a free event, which to me means they're going to charge people to come. And the second one is, I'm a bit aghast at paying village hall hire to the trust to own the village hall.
When we own the village hall, yeah.
They own the village hall, so they're not hiring it. All they're doing is block in and out 3 hours when they can't rent it to somebody else. And I get that, but this is their hall. They
What
own it.
makes them think it was going to be hired anyway?
Well, maybe not. But it's just, yeah, it's just.
I think we've given quite a lot. I know it's a children's event, but most children go out trick or treating anyway.
We could fund some of it. Just.
I'm not happy that you know, they're addressing the climate emergency, not any.
Or they're also plastic.
Anybody, you can always find something, and a fairly similar application for the children's Christmas party. You know, they might it just shows they're not thinking. They're just not thinking about it, are they? And part of our role, I think, is to get organisations to think about the issues. That's part of the reason of having this question.
The Christmas party's £10 more. I think we should move to refuse. Sorry folks, I'm going to be our humble gay. So no.
I'd be inclined to give something to it, but nowhere near the full amount. I think it is a nice community event to have.
Or an option that rules the other one, which is you just say we'll pay for one and not the other.
Well,
Because they've got two applications.
But then are they going to be charging for this? So we pay for all decorations and they're profiteering from it? I'm just saying.
I don't know that they're going to charge for this, but it doesn't say it's a free event.
I think they should charge it, even if not.
They've already had afternoon tea with the Easter Bunny this year. Children Easter crafting. Yeah.
Pretty sure we had the same
I mean,
conversation.
yeah, if this has no risk to them and no cost to them, then they can keep thinking more and more of these, can't
The
they?
thing is
Halloween,
that
Christmas, Easter.
you're not paying for the venue because it's yours. You can go and collect from Home Bargains for attempts on decorations. People in the community with children can decorate the hall. What exactly are you paying for with a Halloween party? An MP3 player and a speaker? What are we paying for?
As I detailed on this breakdown of awards we've given in the past, every year they have more projects. So 3 years ago they had 3 separate projects. The year after it was 5 projects. Last year it was 10 projects.
I'm not being funny, but I just think
But as Councillor Wilson's saying, if we keep giving them money, they will find more projects.
The other thing they don't do, or they certainly didn't when I was part of it, is they never put any of their own money into this. If you look at the reserves, they'll have 50,000 in reserves, but I bet there's 75, 80,000 in the bank account.
Right.
I just think it's a
So that they're not using any of their own money to put back into it. Every time they run an event, they come to us for all the funding.
I'm going to do blue today. No.
Yeah.
I think bear in mind that it's one as
But
well.
it is, you know, they've got 2, so maybe support part of one of them rather than both.
But not all of one though, because we're still being charged for the room hire. We're still, you know, and I'm alright if we give you all the money and you don't charge for the event, then I'm alright with that, because then we as a council have supported a community event for children in Homley. Get that? But we don't do anything in Home Firth similar. And also, like, what are their overheads? And where are the Halloween decorations and Christmas decorations from last year?
Good point, yes. Recycling.
Well, I'm not being funny, but my Christmas baubles don't get changed every 12 months. I've still got some from like 1994 or something.
Did we get an evaluation form from the Easter event?
We did.
And
You can look it up. Yeah.
what page is it on?
It's just if you just go to grants, drop down, it will be
Oh, it's
last year's.
on the website.
There's a link though from the start. Is it on this list? There's a link at the
Yeah.
start of the agenda.
I think any comments to make on this are equally applicable to the next one, aren't they? The Christmas.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
look, so simplicity it goes back to. I honestly feel that we shouldn't really put more than 50% into anything, because is that bit about
We need to work it out ourselves. so-
how committed is somebody
Yeah.
to something? Is it just finding one more thing that we can do because we, you know? So I've always felt that way, and I think I would go the other. Rather than say no, I would be inclined to say 50% for each of them. And I think the test for me would be is will the village trust continue to put them on when either they've got a gap to fill themselves or that gap needs to be filled by a modest charge for it. If they are, brilliant. But you know, I think
I go for proportion, I go for less than that. I think it's like £100 to each of these 2 projects, the Christmas party and Halloween. Because they're good community events, I assume they're good. But
Yeah, I mean the photo of the Easter Bunny party. I mean, it does look. You know, there's lots of people involved. Yeah.
how do we get onto that?
Yeah, let's look at it. So it's just on the grounds drop down from the, there's the Easter
Yeah,
Bunny
it looks.
party.
It's.
Don't look very Eastery. You've got some ears on.
Well, there's.
There's a wacky great Easter bunny on the.
Yeah, there is a big Easter bunny on the door.
Yeah.
There's Easter
Christmas party 2 years ago.
lunch boxes or whatever they are.
Could we fund just one element of these?
The room hire.
No.
Just saying.
Well, for instance, the DJ entertainment, presumably they're going to have to pay something for that.
You got it.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
You know where I stand on wherever I'll go with majority. I'm not comfortable with it. I just think you're
Yes.
recycling the.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I absolutely agree, but equally, it's a Christmas party and it's a Halloween party for kids. And it would seem a bit mean to say, no, go away, you're not having a party.
I'm not saying.
So I'm more going down the line of,
You can't
as
have
Charles
parties.
is suggesting, to give some contribution towards it. I'm just trying to get my head around how much.
Yeah, but you've got to remember, no offence, Charles, he's the only councillor. If he says no, then they're not going to vote him in, are they?
Oh,
Like,
it's just right, it's got another, 4 years?
yeah, but they'll
2
remember.
years, 2 years.
They'll remember. All I'm saying though is that
Okay, I don't think this is a make or break for me, I don't know.
it would be for me.
And the people affected won't be voting for about another 14 years.
Yeah, I'm
They're
fine,
not
I'm
saying
fine.
anything. No, what I'm saying is, I appreciate that it is a children's party. I appreciate all those things, but every year, what do they do with the Halloween decorations? What do they do with?
I don't think they've done a Halloween one before.
Yeah. I'd take Rich's point as well, that it's an increasing number of applications coming from it. We have a limited amount, we've had an increased number of applications anyway, so we've got to draw a line somewhere, haven't we?
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
£200 for each event.
I second that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you, Chair.
Well done, you've through that.
And so
We've got
that's,
£4,842 worth.
Well, I just move that we say no to everything else then and let it go, because I'm quite happy with that.
where have we got to?
Eco homes,
Well, you're not going to say no to that.
yes.
Equals.
No, it's a surprise.
So, the proper chunk of the village.
I'm quite on this one.
I'm going to speak against the eco homes one, not because it's eco homes, I want to make clear, but because I don't think
We should
this
be paying for
is
that.
needed.
It's an old one again, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
web designer type.
Well, the other website one.
You know, it's
Last
not
time
very
they asked
tangible,
for,
is it?
last time they asked for advertising, let's advertise for membership. You're alright, thanks. I think everybody knows what they're like. So I move to refuse. It's not our problem that you can't. They've got money anyway, so no.
They have some money, not
Mm.
huge reserves, are they? They've not had a grant from us before.
That's just because we've got a moral compass.
It's difficult to see how it fits that criteria.
Mm.
Suggest no for it as well.
Mm.
Only in a very wider context. isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I said, you know, because we have to find legal powers, and the only legal power we've got is section 137, which is what you use when you haven't got a legal power. So,
So I think that's 3 moves to refuse. So anyone else?
Okay. And then the last one.
Yeah.
Random acts of kindness and giving event.
I really struggle with this one.
Does this feel like
Aren't
it
you
should be
supposed to
like
give your own
donated
money?
or?
Absolutely. As I understand this one, they're asking for some money to pay to an advertising agency, presumably the advertising agency, which you won't name, is now in the middle of Home Fair, to advertise
Which one?
for the retailers so that people come and buy stuff at those retailers and then win it, just give it away.
I don't. Random acts of kindness is not supposed to be advertised or forced, is it? It's supposed to be a random act of kindness. And there is a random act of kindness day.
Yeah.
We have one in the NHS.
I was going to say, on top of that, this particular need in terms of sort of that isolation and supporting people around Christmas time is already being met elsewhere. I know certainly the library does a great deal. I think Community Plus does a lot.
The co-op does it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't think they've actually researched, you know, that need and whether it's being met. I'll be honest.
It should have thought with me that
Right.
as a Rotarian, we run an raffle every Christmas.
Yeah, there you go.
We go around the local businesses and we just give you
The
things.
Rotary Club,
Yeah.
and that, yeah.
You don't have to buy anything.
And also, Haybedge do an old people's Christmas dinner where we all donate boxes of chocolates and things from the Christmas tree and biscuits and stuff. I think there's a lot of community provision already.
Absolutely.
I think they should be advertising, they should be supporting free advertisement for the already existing many.
I think when they did it before, which was during COVID, I felt there was some point to that really, but I don't think there's any point to this, so I would suggest we refuse this.
Yes, I remove to refuse. Second.
Right, so in terms of, 60/40, we've spent 9,097, you got that, John?
Yeah, and
We've
30
got
pence.
£4,842.70 left, so we've spent a lot more than 60%. But we've got about 5,000 left, if you think that's enough to get through February, it's...
Well, we haven't asked anyone to come back, have we?
Yeah, but let's be blunt about it, there is no money stream. So, come
Not even a
February,
magic one.
if we've got applications for 15,000, then we simply haven't got it. Now, whether we take the view of trying to scale back some of these to give us a bit more headroom, or whether we just accept that come February we don't have the funds that we might have had.
We've had that debate, the things that we're giving money to, we think are worth having money.
Yeah, we've been quite scrupulous, haven't we?
Do we feel there are any that would wish to scale back? And if the answer is no, then we just have to accept that come February we've got limited funds.
So, sorry, just come February, what sort of percentage have we got of the total of the year's amount left?
Well, about 25%.
Right. So
But that's taking account of all the rolling grants as well, you see, it's not just...
So if we didn't revisit each of these individually, that actually said each of the ones we've already approved was scaled back by 10%.
About £1,000 back in, isn't it?
Yeah, they're worth it.
Yeah, put £1,000 back in.
Is it not right?
Yeah, we've agreed that all of these projects, well, the ones we've agreed to, are worth supporting, haven't we, really? And, if you give them money now, then they can get on with what the...
And also, the thing is, it's not in February, and then there's next September, isn't there?
Yes, yeah.
I think, we've only got one significant haven't we? And when it's gone, hasn't it? I'm quite happy to do that.
Yeah, we've said
I
no
think-
to some
I think we just have to accept that collectively.
I mean, we did as well via money from other community assets to projects and events. I mean, maybe we need to think about this when we're doing the budget, because if you remember as well, I mean, some things from service provision, they stopped having a budget line for them. They ended up getting funding from. Yes, it's after my, we know it's after 9 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that now, Andy? Do you want-
Yes, we better do. Are we all right to extend
Yeah.
this a little bit?
Yeah, I was just making the point that from service provision, the home value patient transport had a budget line that's now coming out of the grants pot.
Is it a rolling grant out there?
Yeah, it is, yes.
Yeah.
But this budget line didn't increase, you see, this stayed at 20,000. So perhaps it does need looking at in next year's
I
budget.
suppose we've got some breathing space in that all the rolling grants have come out of this first half, haven't they?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah, and normally we don't have that, do we? We have to take them anyway.
Yeah.
So actually, we're probably all right.
But yeah, I was thinking along the same lines as Lawrence of scaling, but I'm happy it'll...
We have
Leave it there.
scrutinised them, haven't we?
Yeah,
And we've been fair. I haven't always been fair, but that's why.
Okay, are we happy with that? We'll
Yeah.
move on. Where have we got to? Councillor visits to community groups that have received awards. Myself and Jenny went to Upperthorne Cricket Club.
Yeah, they didn't give you a drink.
They did actually.
Now, did you declare it?
Coffee.
Okay.
And a full cricket kit.
Right, see you, Jenny. Coming to this meeting in a cricket whites.
Did any photos come out of that, Jenny? they took some photos and they were going to send them to Jenny, who was going to send them in to yourself.
Probably
or
put
Jenny.
them on there. These are the councillors who've sent me.
We've got them, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
that's
the reason we've not published anything, that it goes with the ones from Councillor Bailey as well, because we're in you know, this public
Yeah.
we don't call it purder anymore,
Yeah.
can't remember what it's called.
Electoral sensitive.
Because we're in purder, but we didn't want to
Swear the audience.
publish where it was individual named councillors, so they'll be published after the election.
They put it to good use, the seating and the carpets and they were talking about making an application for solar panels, so.
That's
Yeah.
fine, you know where
That
to
one?
send them then, clearly, don't you? And they have to have a battery attached.
And Councillor Bailey visited Scholes Cricket Club.
I did. They tried me out for opening batsman, but I failed. Yeah, they have actually got solar panels, although that's not what we've paid for, but they're constantly getting hit by the ball. Anyway, yeah, you know, it was a sponsors day, so you know there were several other companies.
I actually thought it was a very useful process, never mind when it was, to actually see these things in place.
It was good to see, and it's good sort of relations with them as
Yeah,
well.
I think we need to do more of that
Yeah,
after this next batch.
absolutely. Agree.
Okay. Where have we got to? Rolling
Rolling
grants. So we're considering the rolling grant agreement for Holmfirth Arts Festival, £1,500.
Is that on top of the money we've already spent? Or have you
No, we've basically said that we want them to apply for it, so we've already accounted for it. It's just that we have to approve their, you know, the paperwork they've sent essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Similarly, Friends of Cliff Recreation Ground, rolling grants.
Yeah.
At a prior committee meeting, a decision on the rolling grant application from Home Valley Patient Transports was deferred pending contacts from Council
I have finally managed to get hold of the lady after no less than 26 attempts. And lots of emails, which she didn't even reply to when I sent them from my working manager. So I did manage to speak to the lady who runs the patient transport service. It covers, listen to this, Councillor Bailey, every patient in the Home Valley that goes to any Holmfirth or Homley doctors,
Except Hayden.
including for the record, Hayed Edge, right? So you can book a doctor's appointment and then organise transport, which the surgery will ring through to the transport service and organise for you. I feel that this lady doesn't get enough funding, but I have advised her of where to go for funding, and I have said I will help her find the funding because it is a very underfunded service. There you go. So I think rolling grant should be approved.
From my point of view, it seems underutilised. I don't think people know about
They will do when I put it in the breeze because I'm sick of being accused of not making them.
Let it go.
Yeah, and they produced a leaflet now,
Yes.
haven't they, which is quite good, and they, I think, isn't Gemma doing their Facebook page, is that
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
So we are helping
Yeah,
them out
yes,
as well.
You know, my neighbour gets a taxi regularly to go down to the doctor.
Oh,
She
yeah.
doesn't know about it.
No, but they're very good and very underfunded, so I've given her some advice about where to get extra funding from, and she said when I came back from a holiday she'd get in touch with her, she's got time and I'll take the day off and go and speak to her.
Okay, so we're approving this one, yeah?
Yes.
Item 63, chair's expenses. To note, the chair's been very expensive, we spent £30. Item 64, schedule of payments, which I'm sure everybody's gone through. So we're noting July and August.
Yeah.
We're considering the approval of the month-to-date schedule of payments for September.
What is that noise? Is
I can't turn it off. It's a football score, but I can't turn it off. I've got volume turned right down, but
It's a very calm
it's not
football
recognising.
It's quite a nice noise.
It's not basketball, why should it be good if it's
What ball was it playing?
Clearly you're following a team that don't score often.
Well, no, we always feel that doesn't it?
Okay, so we need to note one.
You need to note 2.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, point
Consider
1,
two.
yeah.
So point 2 we need to approve,
Yes.
So are we
Yeah.
okay with that?
Thank you.
Item 65, financial statements. To note the accounting summaries and copies enclosed. That's for July, for August.
I don't really have a lot to report on that. I'll report later down.
Okay. And then 3, to consider as per the guidance and practitioner's guide. The committee must approve the bank reconciliations cross-reference with bank statements. I have been through all of these, and they do all balance. As I'm sure
They
everybody
will,
else
they
has
will
gone
always balance. This is a bit of a waste of time.
They are balanced, yes.
But we have to do this, don't we?
We do.
And not only that, we have to vote on this.
We
Yeah,
do.
well, although you've checked them, well done.
We all should have checked them,
I check them every quarter.
just saying. 4, councillors to review the income and expenditure report for August. Notes from Rich.
Yeah, I mean, it's all written down there, what, you know,
Is there anything in particular to?
I mean, you tend to know all the stuff that's going to be problematic, like the insurance.
I knew you were going to say.
The elections will be problematic. So I don't think there's anything. There's
Let's
nothing.
just keep an empty seat.
There's nothing new really. I mean, obviously we've got the situation with the Civic. We don't know how that's all going to pan out. So.
I think you just need to take my financial advisor's advice, personally.
Well, we're talking to, NALC it'll go to, so NALC should give us,
Some free advice.
well, no, they will give us definitive advice, so
It
hopefully.
sounded rather hopeful as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will be
you sound
hopeful
hopeful.
because it's
Yeah.
correct. I'm not trying to get you all arrested for that fraud.
Okay, so we need to consider any further actions on income and expenditure against budget. Have we got any further actions?
I don't think so, no.
No. Earmark reserves. My pet thing. I don't think there's anything particularly we need to go through in this meeting.
I can say that all of those that come under service provision were talked about at the last, it's ongoing, it's on track, ongoing.
So are you going to give us the money back?
I think later on as well, there'll be a change to how we deal with the amounts, so it'll have an impact on these in the future. So, consider any further actions, none at this point.
No.
Okay, item 66, audits. To note the external auditor's report was received with no actions needed.
I read that actually.
So, I think well done to the team.
Yeah, well done.
Item 67, tenancies. To note there has been one minor issue with the garage tenancy.
Well, I'll try and do this as quickly as possible. This is what Jen was saying about her husband and giving up the garage, giving up the garage tenancy. So how did we find out about this, Jen? How did we find out that that this was being listed on the housing in the estate agent?
I
So
can't
basically,
talk about it, Rich, because I've declared an interest.
So what? You can tell her, but you're not.
basically, so somebody moved into one of the properties on Dunford Road 2 years ago, and at that time, and the previous owner had the tenancy of one of our garages. There
Right.
was no waiting list, so they immediately put themselves on the waiting list and they got the garage. they're now selling their house, and on the estate
Particulars.
agent's particulars, it says that it comes with, essentially comes with a rental from the parish council of the garage. However, since then, obviously, Jen's husband was on the list, and then somebody else who heard that this had gone on to the estate agent's particulars, they also applied and they also put themselves on the list. So it's all got rather confused. Then we had the current tenants email me, and I was exchanging information with them. We spoke to the estate agent. We told them they had to change their listing. Blah 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 blah. So things are a bit up in the air at the moment, because whilst they still have a tenancy and they're still in the house, the people who are in the house still have the use of the garage. I've told them that if they leave, they can't. You know,
They
I've told them
can't
they
transfer
can't.
the tenancy,
I've
that's
told them
not
they
how it
can't
works.
sublet it. They can't sublet it. If they stayed in the home valley, I don't. You know, this is one of the problems. There isn't any mechanism to take it off them if they kept paying for
Knock
it.
it down.
However, they can't sublet it. So it's a confusing situation. We might have to revisit the tenancy. You know, we might have to revisit the lease. So anyway, that's where we're at. It's, you know, there's nothing to do at the moment.
Can I suggest that I look at some leases where sometimes we lease land, and we have a land tenancy lease that sometimes includes buildings, and when you come away from the tenancy, you surrender everything. Maybe there's some surrendering clauses that can help you out
No,
with instead of paying
I
somebody.
did wonder if they left the home valley, they have to give it up. It's a simple. But there's nothing
But
there.
you
There's
can
nothing there at the moment.
You can
to do
renew
it.
the tenancy with notice.
I know you can renew it every year. It renews, so it's, you know.
So
they
just
don't-
give it new terms of tenancy, and the
Yeah.
tenancy terminates when you leave the residence next to it.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
I'll get you some tenancy agreements you can use, so it'll
Does
save
it
some.
belong to that particular residence or not?
No, it belongs to the
No.
council.
No, I mean, does it go with it? But I mean, you just say if they give up they move from that house, but
Well, yeah, that doesn't. But I think if they leave the home valley, it
oh,
would.
they leave it on that.
Well, I'm saying that could be a way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
But they might not leave the home valley.
So did Jen's husband just get pissed off?
No, Jen's husband gave up his first place on the list because he unself-centeredly thought it should go to the people who were living nearby, because as we know there are problems with parking on Dumfries Road, so
It's very thoughtful.
it was very thoughtful.
I wouldn't have done that.
Have been waiting so long to pass this
Four-
pilot's licence.
No, it's probably given his license.
Forced on him by his wife, I should add.
Really? Come on, Jen.
Keeping quiet.
That's very thoughtful of you, Jen. I wouldn't have been like that.
But that's it really, it's kind of what's his space really.
I'll get you some tenancy agreements with termination terms in them so you can see what options apply.
Okay, so we're noted.
Yeah.
Noted. 2. The Service Provision Standing Committee has been discussing the operation of the Parish Council's allotments, particularly in the context of promoting biodiversity and other climate emergency issues.
Can you make them put sheep's wool on the soil and then I can get
the sheep's wool.
I've got sheep loads.
I've got sheep loads.
Sheep loads, yes, lots
Do you want to
of
speak to this? Or do you want to-
20 plus sheep loads.
Yeah, so I can speak to this a little bit, just to say first of all that it was raised and have a look. Yeah, so what it will say in our service provision minutes is, as you will know, Parish Council operates a number of allotments. Members discuss the rationale behind the management of the Home Valley Parish Council allotments situated in Home Village, being part of the remit of this committee rather than Service Provision Committee. So the points that were made were that if at some stage the Parish Council wanted to review allotment provision, perhaps explore expanding allotment provision, then would the remit not fit more appropriately with Service Provision Committee rather than Finance and Management? And in terms of biodiversity policy, the Parish Council's adopted a biodiversity policy. Whether the Parish Council should ban the use of pesticides on its allotments in light of this was discussed. That would require a revision of the tenancy agreement, and there was discussion as to how that could be enforced. An alternative approach suggested was to consult with and provide information to allotment holders that would bring about the changes desired without enforcement being required. And one of the things I raised at the meeting was that the renewing of the annual tenancy agreements currently managed by Rich, alongside those of the garages, and the rates are set by this committee. So any change to the remit of the Service Provision Committee should then think about the impact on officer workload, because I certainly didn't want to be doing tenancy agreements in addition to other things. So no vote was taken, but it was an action for me to raise the issue of which committee should have the remit for managing the allotments at this meeting.
Can I just add one thing, which was that we also noted that there are discussions going on at the moment about the whole scheme of delegation and about the committee structures and everything else. And there is, perhaps it's more a personal view than exactly what we decided at service provision, but you know, if we are to do anything about this, it would perhaps be better to do it alongside that overall sort of review.
So at this point in time, what do we need to do?
Well, I've done the action for me. I've raised it with you. In terms of what you might want to think about,
I mean, there's some very valid points coming out there,
Yeah.
and things that we probably ought to be doing.
It's probably about, you know, if we as a council are being more proactive with our allotment assets, if you like, the laws, then there is a lot of logic in it sitting with service provision, you know, as opposed to just managing the tenancies and collecting the rent.
Is it about this committee making a recommendation to council
Yes.
for the move?
Yes.
But that I keep doing the tenancy agreement?
Well, it is the idea that the day-to-day management and the oversight of allotment provision could logically move from this committee to Service Provision Committee, whilst leaving that financial aspect of it, charges, tenancy agreements and so on with F&M. That all makes perfect sense, whether actually, given that you've got a review of committee structure going on anyway, it would, you know, why put a recommendation forward now when it could be part of the larger review?
Okay. So we'll basically park it until
It's being noted.
Okay.
Why do you want control allotment?
Where do you want to do?
Do you manage the allotments in service provision?
No, service provision do nothing with the allotments.
Right, so what
We
do you
just
want?
keep.
So I think it was, I mean, I have to say it was something that was put by a member of the committee. And it would involve the council in being more proactive with various things like the biodiversity issues and so
But
on.
surely that's a case.
It will, as long as case continues to exist. No, I agree. I think there is an argument there, you know, just as with the solar panels on public toilets. You know, the case could just take that initiative.
But it's all part of the bigger discussion, isn't it? I think we just need to park.
I think we need to park it for now. There are some valid points out there.
I'm just saying that surely if you're talking about biodiversity and you're talking about pesticides, that surely sits with the case committee.
The case might go, and
Why might it go?
the idea is that the whole of the parish council should be doing those things. It shouldn't just be one committee.
There's a bigger conversation
That's
there,
the
and I think
conversation.
this should be rolled into that bigger conversation.
Could we just move that we park this?
Yes.
Please.
Okay, we've got 3 to note, the new tenant is now paying a rent of £350 a month on the guard side shop unit. Noted. Item 68, new model financial regulations from NALC. I don't know if you want to go into this now, Rich.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to do it, don't we? Because
Well,
it
we
kind
do
of,
if we're going to
kind of
take it to
impacts on
the full council.
budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and do it as quickly as possible. Yeah. So as it says, I mean, we were trying to do a few things with this. We were trying to make sure that the council was protected from fraud, but also that our systems are a bit more rationalised so that it could be more effective and could be more responsive. That committees could potentially have more, control over how they're doing things, and also that the financial regulations, reflected what we actually do, which didn't really happen before. We were kind of muddling through really. So there's various things that perhaps you won't be aware of how novel they are, but I'll sort of say a few things. I mean, I suppose one of the big ones is that and this isn't something we've added in. This was actually in it. We did have the option of deleting it, but that myself and the clerk can authorise payments up to £500. Now, before we haven't had that. That's not been a thing. So at the moment, if we need to pay actual cash money, you have to go to a committee for something out of the ordinary. You have to go to a committee, or you have to go to this committee, or you have to go to council. So obviously, it puts a big delay on stuff. So that's quite a big change. So anything that comes in that's kind of like a small payment, we could just authorise it there and then. The idea of the 500 is it's not enough to encourage us to be so fraudulent that we're going to, escape with 500 quid and.
We've got an holiday for 500 quid, Jan.
I don't think many people are going to vanish for the sake of 500 quid.
I have been 500.
No.
I mean, we did discuss this. I mean, I don't.
Well, you can sign 500 and Jen can sign 500.
No, it's
Just a maximum of 500 between.
No, we could do it. We could do it separately. I mean, it all depends on how it's set up with Unity Trust, to be honest.
And I think one thing that was said was that if we decide to go with all of this, we can review it in 6 months, and it might be that we say actually we don't need that much. We can reduce it, or in some other.
No, it might need to be a little bit higher.
But in the case of emergency, £2,000 can be paid. So there is another level. The £500 is for everyday things. Like quite often if I'm paying for say Microsoft 365 or our antivirus system or something like that, I'm paying it over the internet. If I just pay it, I can get. We can basically authorise that payment there and then. It saves me having to come to this committee or finance to do something which should be just
easy,
ordinary. This isn't an everyday thing.
Don't see anybody else.
So I don't think so. That's one of the bigger changes. I suppose the other one is and we didn't come with a definitive figure on this. Myself and Councillor Wilson and Councillor Collins. So at the moment, committees can authorise up to £5,000. We chatted about whether it should be raised to 7,500 or 10,000. This obviously gives committees more control over, their budgets. I don't know what members think about that.
I mean, for me, it's a bit of a pain, isn't it? When you've got money in the budget. Then you have to go to full council, you have to wait until there's full council before you can get it authorised.
Yeah, but Lawrence likes spending money, that's why he's going, It's in charge of service and provision, it's like a holy bucket.
Yeah, but can I just say on a sensible level that whatever you put in place at some point, the internal and external auditors will have a look at and make recommendations about the controls, won't they? So if you're satisfied that the controls you still have in place are adequate, then I don't see any problem with this.
And it's only things that are in the budget anyway.
It's only pre-authorised things, isn't it?
I mean, I've read through it all, the pink bits and yellow bits, and I just think it makes sense that it's designed to streamline the operation of the council. Because goodness knows, it's so clunky at the moment. And there involves lots of waiting sometimes, which is.
I mean, my only reservation really is you remember when we get to the fourth year of 4 and you get committee meetings where there are 3 people there and you've got those 3 people deciding on 10,000 quid. It's just that I'm a bit worried about, really.
We'll be fine, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Well, that's kind of what Councillor Wilson was saying, we can review it.
Anyway, they're very entertaining, we're all still here, aren't we?
So can I just point out a typo, which is in 4.4.8, the words, which is a pink bit, the words in the penultimate line, the and must is repeated.
Yeah, that's not me, that's them.
Them.
That's them,
Right.
I don't see a problem with the checks, it sounds sensible, doesn't it?
And then the other bit, which is more, is a change, is that committees would have control of their earmark reserves up to £10,000. That only above £10,000 would it be referred to council. At the moment, you have to refer everything to council. If you're spending 100 quid from the earmark reserve, it has to go to council.
Well, we've earmarked it, haven't we, and that's what we said we were going to spend on it, so I don't understand what the problem is. We've
Well,
already approved that.
That's why the suggestion is to change it.
We've already said you're having it, haven't we?
I thought the bigger thing on EMRs was though that we can't.
Well, it's not a bigger thing. I think that's the bigger thing. But I think your point about the rolling it over bits.
If we're not effectively started on something, we can't just roll it over.
No.
What it's basically saying is that you have to be very clear about what a project is and what it's for and what the money is for and what money you've got for that. And if you can't just roll all the money you've unspent just because, which is what we've done the last few years, it's got to be for a specific thing. Like if we didn't spend, for the solar panels on the toilets, but if you didn't spend that could be rolled because it's a specific identified pot of money.
And it's started, hasn't it? Even
And
if it's
it's
not
started.
physically started.
Exactly.
The background looks great.
Yeah.
I guess things like that playground one would be an example of what we can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was because we were waiting for Kirklees, wasn't it?
No, it got rolled over for a number of years, I think, didn't it? That one?
Oh yeah, before, and then we rolled it over one more time waiting for Kirklees, even though Jenny
So
tested it.
it will place a limit on.
Are you saying this should be written into this new document?
It
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't.
Yeah, it wasn't something that we've added, it was part of the model document.
Sounds good to me.
And then the other bits are kind of about the multi-pay credit card, which I know we've not gone down that route yet, but I've put the sort of figures I've built in there are trying to protect the parish council from potential fraud from, people using the card, but still give us a bit of flexibility about how we pay for stuff.
Unlike 4.8, we could embarrass somebody here, couldn't we?
Go on, sorry.
Any member with council tax unpaid for more than 2 months was prohibited from voting on the budget.
Yeah, so I think what this...
I wish I didn't pay the council tax 2 months on the bounds.
I think what this means is that if we're voting on a budget in any committee, that we've got to say this at the start of the meeting.
What, that we haven't paid as council tax?
Well,
Yeah.
we have.
That you have paid it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
I feel that my council tax is very extortionate.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's in the
Does
private
anybody on the
regulations.
council
It's
not pay the council tax?
Who knows?
There's been loads of cases.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the Home Valley though, surely. What happens if you have to declare that if you get any funding?
I'm very cagey.
I hope that you morally pay your TV licence, even if you don't agree with paying it for me.
So in the past, there's been Kirklees councillors who've been, shall I say, flagged up for this. Some of which where you would say that they are in serious arrears and it's a real issue, and others where it was on the technicality. So one of
Like changing bank or whatever.
So I believe that one of our colleagues has found it in the past, but it was resolved relatively quickly, I think.
It'll have probably been a protest.
I think
I suppose it's a
The
principle.
bigger issue was when the deputy leader of the Labour group was in serious arrears.
Well, that won't surprise me.
There were a lot more to it, and then there were a few.
I have
For the
actually,
record, this is a past deputy leader of the Labour Group.
From last week.
Not councillor.
For the record, yeah.
Yeah.
for the record, last time election came round, you mean?
I mean, I
No,
suppose
no,
there's a
Champions
principle
Council for
here
some
that
time.
a serious message, isn't there? If you're not paying the council tax, then you can't vote on a
Well, the thing is though, you're spending money that is council tax money, you should at least be.
Well, there's also the other big of it as well, which in her particular case was, if you're not paying council tax, it's probably down to the fact that you've got financial difficulties. If you've got financial difficulties, you need to go and get help before it all goes horribly wrong. But there is, the purpose of it is to say if you can't manage your own affairs, you shouldn't be managing others, but actually, it's more about perhaps, is your head in the right place?
The thing is though, sometimes I think about not paying my council tax out of protest.
No, don't do it.
Well, you can.
Anyway, can
Can
we
we
move
move
on?
on?
Can we move on? Are there any other points you'd like to raise from that?
I don't think so. I don't know if anybody.
I know it's heavy going, but before the full council, it's worth reading through these and understanding, particularly the things that Richard highlighted there.
Yeah.
It is heavy.
Reread.
So this is about recommendation to council, with or without amendment.
Okay, noted.
No,
No,
you're
we're
not,
not
you're not
doing it,
voting,
we have to vote on
recommending.
Well, I'll vote then.
I mean, personally, I think we
Alex,
should.
put your hand up.
We are.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair.
Just voting.
You just voted to give all your service provision money back.
Item 69, internal control checks. To note, the second quarter of the financial year is now over, and the Place Council will be arranging to meet with Councillor Lamb.
Yeah, right.
So have we noted that? Item 70, banking. These are all to notes, I think, aren't they?
Good, because it's like an ever recurring subject.
Is there anything we need to pick out of these, Rich?
Not really, I mean, they're all to note, there's no decisions to be made.
Okay, are we all alright with noting these?
Yeah.
Thank you. Item 71, financial records for the website. To note again, financial records for July and August have been added to the website.
Yeah.
September ones will be added once bank statements have been received. And item 72, publicising the work of the Holmby Parish Council. To consider recent events or news that the committee wishes to publicise.
Grant awards.
Are we allowed to do that though? Are we allowed to do that in this
What?
time of pre-election or not?
Yeah.
Oh, it's alright then.
You said it was about individual councils, which is different.
I just want to make a point which I already made to you, Councillor Wilson. I'm not going to pay any of these grants until November when we get the next part of the precept in, because we're not going to have enough money to preserve the right
Oh,
amount
you're
of
gonna be
general
moving money around.
reserves. Well, I'm not going to be spending it until November, unless it's time critical.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much. I know it's going on a bit, but